Open your mind.
Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. The protester. The protester. The protester.
Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus.
Open your mind.
You know.
Yeah, X.
You know.
Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. You understand?
Yeah, X.
You understand? You understand? Open your mind.
Dark X. Yeah, X.
You know.
You understand?
Yeah, X.
dark Exodus, dark Exodus, dark Exodus, dark Exodus.
And peace, folks. Welcome back to another edition of the Popular Thought Series right here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why your black asses are here. Special show tonight. My man, S.K.C, the one and only, will be here tonight. And I'm gonna give y'all fair warning, man. This one might hurt. Yeah. This one might hurt just a bit. I spoke to Brother Supreme earlier on the phone a little while ago. He's ready to rock and roll, and get it started with his presentation. But y'all know before we get started, I always gotta hit y'all in the head with T.P.O.T's programming notes. Yeah. Damn, what the hell just happened to my damn camera? That shit just went off for no reason. Yeah, I'd hit y'all off with some programming notes because we got a few good shows coming up besides this one tonight. In fact, tomorrow, the one and only Brother TVA will be in the house, and he's here for another challenge. And he's calling out conservatives. He hit me up. He was like, X, I want to do a challenge. I want to lay down some premises, and I want to take on any conservative who wants to square off against me. So there it is. Brother TVA will be here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. You Negroes know. Then we end the week Friday. Brother Jonathan will be in the house. The young fellas coming here. Brother Jonathan, as y'all know, his channel is Real Deal Financial, and we will be talking about finessing the finances. That's right, finessing the finances. He's going to come in. He's going to be talking about some investments, some stocks, some, I'm assuming some bonds, some real estate, everything financial will be going on Friday night. We're going to do that one a little earlier. We're going to start probably around 9. So make sure you're here, all right? Because Brother Jonathan will be here, Real Deal Financial, right here on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. You Negroes know. But tonight, we get down with my man, Brother S.K.C, who is in the house. Let me bring up my vote. Brother Supreme, what's good with it, man?
Hey, what's going on, X?
What's going on, man? Whenever you ready.
Wow. Yeah, well, I guess when we were talking the other day, and I was mentioning to you, I think we were talking about the whole CRT thing, and we started to talk in our conversation, and it kind of, I was reminded of how when people blind themselves to see alternative perspectives, how they can become tunnel vision, as it were. And I think that that's something that is becoming more prominent, particularly, in this sector of things. People talk about the Black community and so forth. But I think some of that is even infecting the minds of people here, to where they get so stuck in a certain way of seeing things that being able to see the entire chessboard, as it were, becomes impossible, because they can only see one way or one mode of accomplishing something. When we were kind of going over the whole critical race theory thing, I kind of came across this type of thinking because some people could not accept the thought that, could it be possible that people were inserting this line of thought inside of young people's minds? And then I just extrapolated that out to think like, I think a lot of people sometimes cannot fathom or imagine that a certain thought or perspective that they have could be wrong. And that's kind of how I came down this rabbit hole. To take it a bit further for those in the audience, and just a question you can answer in the chat. I just want to see where your mindset is, because I'll go down a few lines of thought. If the people in the chat, if you could list a name of a person that you think is, in your mind, one of the most sinister persons in history, like, who would it be? I'll wait. Maybe you could fill the time. X. Who would you say while the chat is trying to respond?
The most sinister person,
yeah,
would have to be Hitler. I don't know, Jim Jones. Who else? There's quite a few I know. I just can't think of them right now. Somebody said Charles Manson.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Idi Amin comes to mind. Who else? Quite a few people.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, is you're going to get a wide range of individuals that come to mind. Now, the other part of that exercise is this: were any of the people that were listed, like a person said Hitler, Charles Manson, Stalin, Papa Doc, Mao, were they right about anything? What would you say, X? Well, was there just one singular thought that any of those individuals are actually right about?
Well, I know, I think about Charles Manson. I remember watching an interview with him many years ago. Yeah, but he was right. He was right about not so much of the killing part, the helter skelter part. He was right about when he talked about the polar ice caps. He was talking about how the snow was melting, and no one paid attention to it at the time, but he was talking about how the snow was melting off the polar ice caps. And this was like 20 some odd years ago, and everybody laughed at him. He was talking about how the glaciers are going to become smaller because of a global warming and shit like that. And he's Charles Manson. So of course you're not paying any attention to him. But fast forward to 2021, guess what's going on? The polar ice caps are melting, and glaciers are getting smaller due to global warming. So he was right about that, even though he's Charles Manson.
Correct. And that is part of the, I would say, the overall thing that I'm talking about is sometimes when people think of these, individuals, and for the bigger picture, when it comes to the community, as it were, a lot of people have these views about, white supremacists, David Duke, Spencer, you go down the line, anybody who is coined as a racist.
Mm-hmm.
But are they right about anything? Are they right?
When you say right, though, let me play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
When you say right, do you mean right as their their views and philosophies on race or other things, politics or whatever the case may be? Or are you strictly talking about their views on race?
It could be on a wide range of things. Let's give an example just to push this conversation a little bit forward. I'll open it up to the audience a little bit. Maybe they can chime in while you're chiming in. How do you feel about Margaret Sanger, X?
From what I know about her, she believed in eugenics. She believed in mass sterilization of black folks. She believed in the control of the population of black folks. From what I know, that's just what I know from her, from what I've read about her and stuff like that. Obviously a racist, all right? Obviously a racist. Obviously. But go ahead.
Okay. Was she right about anything though? Like I give you an example. One of her thought patterns, which a lot of people take, have problems with when she says certain people shouldn't reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, at first that could sound harsh, but when you put it in another, I would say in another way, what about people who are unprepared to care for a child? Not just unwilling to adapt to care for a child, but individuals who are actually too selfish to care for a child. Should they reproduce?
No, absolutely not. You already know what I'm going to say. I'm kind of biased, but of course not. Of course not.
Okay. What about individuals who have done things that would make it extremely difficult for them to raise a child properly?
Them either.
Like, say, an individual who, I don't know, has been, I would say, in and out of prison for, 20, 30 years or whatever. Then he gets out and already knows that it's going to be very difficult to get a job, to get acclimated to society. Should they have children? Would you want a person like that having 5, 6 kids?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Because he's obviously in and out of the penitentiary, which means he's not in a position to take care of them. Therefore, him having a bunch of kids, the kids are going to suffer. If he's their parent, the kids are going to suffer. So no.
Okay. No. So then at that point, what is actually happening when you talk about a society is that this individual is deciding to procreate and is basically calling on the rest of society to take care of his progeny.
Pretty much.
So was Margaret Sanger wrong in that respect?
Oh no, and in that respect, absolutely not. People who aren't capable of having children shouldn't have them. I mean, I know that's contrary to a lot of black folks' belief, but if you're not capable of taking care of a kid, absolutely not. You shouldn't have them. I don't care who you are. You shouldn't be doing it.
And so that's kind of like the exercise that I was talking about when it comes to a lot of the thoughts that are passed down in the community, where people have just a knee-jerk reaction to something. Somebody brings up the name, I don't know, Richard Spencer. Oh, racists, don't even talk to him. Curse him out. And it's like, why? Why would you want to do that? Wouldn't it make more sense to try to understand the person's viewpoint, as wrong as it could possibly be, but then try to see, does any portion of it actually have merit?
Mm, I got you. I got you. But hold on a second, because we're doing a new thing here at the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. Whenever you drop coins, I appreciate that Cash App, brother American Negro, longtime supporter of the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. So whenever you happen to drop a Cash App or a super chat, my brother, you get this. I appreciate you dropping your hard-earned coins on this platform. Yeah, that's what you get when you drop some coins on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. But continue, my brother, continue.
No, and I like these conversations because it brings up good questions and thoughts that really I don't know too many places where these conversations take place. That's why I'm glad that you have your platform. But American Negro, he brings up a good point, which could feed the conversation, where he says Margaret Sanger's efforts were based on selfishness. Okay. Now, could I say the same thing that, a lot of the people who have brought children into this world, their efforts were based on their selfish desires?
Mm.
Would I be wrong?
Hell no. Nope. Nope. Well, you asking the wrong person when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I already believe that a lot of people, they have these kids simply for selfish reasons. All right. They have them from beginning to end till the kid is old enough to get the hell away from them. It's usually selfishness. All right. It's usually selfishness that takes place. Selfishness keeps these women from giving these kids to their father. Selfishness keeps these women from letting these fathers see these kids when they do want to see them. All right. Just like selfishness caused them to have 4 and 5 different baby daddies. But don't get me started. Continue, my brother.
So if you take out sometimes when you take out motive, you can still see where a point of view could still have merit. That was the point of that. So when a lot of times when looking at people historically, or individuals that are living right now, that I would say the community as a whole does not look at with they don't look at with favor. A lot of times the person's motives will come into play, as if those motives could be read.
Mm.
Give you to go further into this. Take, for instance, Margaret Sanger. A lot of people say her motives were based on selfishness or whatnot. Well, how many people knew that she came from a family of, I believe, 18?
Mm.
And that her mother died in childbirth?
Wow. I didn't even know that, but.
Well, died due to complications of childbirth. It mixed with tuberculosis. But that was one of the motivators of why she went in the direction that she went. So again, just trying to randomly assign motives to individuals just because we don't like them or because what has been stated, that in ways that kind of robs us of a logical viewpoint to the person, or whether their ideal had or ideas had any merit. And I think that's one of the things that happens a lot, when conversations go on. Like, say, when you go into the ministry and you're talking to different individuals and they have conversations about this or that. Watch how many times a person's motives will come into play. Like a person can read someone else's motives that they've never met in their entire life. For anybody that's in the audience, think about how many times, these beefs have come up. Some of the people in the audience have been involved in little, spats with people or whatnot. And another individual who you have never seen, never met in your life, will assign motives to why you did what you did, as if they know. Absolutely.
That's
And
true.
that's a problem. That's a problem, man, because and a lot of those people will say that they're being logical.
Mm. Well, is that the thing though? Like, do we judge people, whether it be their truth or their falsehoods? Do we judge it off of intent, or should I say, our perceived intent? What
Yes, people assign. There's very there's very few people who logically put motive together. A lot of times, uh, intent is assigned to the individual based upon some feelings. A lot of this happened during this past election cycle, where you had people who were assigning feelings to other individuals based upon what they felt the individual was going, in whatever direction it was. Whether you had individuals who were of the team red, other team blue, and then even others like myself that are, they say, no, I'm neither, I'm apolitical or whatnot. Um, Even then, there was things that was assigned to individuals just based upon feeling.
mm,
you know and again, a lot of these people will say that they're thinking logically while doing so. Just as another one, I know earlier people said the whole thought about Hitler. Okay,
mhm.
horrible guy. Know all of the stuff that happened with him, but he made this statement: he who controls the youth control the future.
True.
Audience, was he wrong? What say you, X?
Absolutely not. I mean, the people who control the youth do control the future. I mean, I mean, look at how black society is. Black society is the way that it is for the most part because of the people who are in charge of the young ones.
Now, with individuals understanding that, now could people understand why so many parents and so forth are up in arms about critical race theory being taught in K through 12 schools?
So, okay, let's do this. Right there is a problem, and you and I we discussed this whole critical race theory thing, right? And
Mhm.
I think it's absurd because I think it's just a distraction for kids who are already struggling, especially when you're talking about black children. All right, they don't need any more distractions. But some of the things that they are talking about that are truth now. I mean, some of that stuff is true and all of that. So there's a prime example of something being true, but the perceived intent, the perception of where they're going with it, I think is the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Because um, if you understand that Hitler was right when he stated that, then a person could instantly understand why teaching that to children in the US would be such a danger.
Mm.
But if an individual just automatically says, "Oh no, I'm not listening to nothing that Hitler had to say or whatnot," or blah blah blah, then it becomes a bit more difficult to understand what's going on. And that's what I'm saying is when people have these opponents of, or various individuals that they do not like, because they do not like them, they let their emotions blind them in seeing if any of their opponents have any thoughts that are of merit, that do make sense. And without having that, it kind of it blinds them to other things that could come up in life. Here's another one. Lyndon B. Johnson. A lot of people hate him for what? Why do a lot of black people hate him? X.
Who? LBJ?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shoot. You know why they hate him? Because he gave the whole speech of how if we do this, they'll be voting for us for the next 200 years. Let me see. They claim he was an adamant racist as well. There's a lot of things they've said about LBJ. I don't know if those are the things you're referring to, though.
Yeah, that's what most people, well, I say most black people, they'll say, oh, yeah, he was the one that said, have these Negroes voting, blah, 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 for the next, 100, 200 years, or something like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Howard University, 65, I'm sorry. Part of his speech. This is what Lyndon B. Johnson said before the graduating class of Howard University. The family is the cornerstone of our society. More than any other force, it shapes the attitude, the hopes, the ambitions, and the values of the child. When the family collapses, it is the children that are usually damaged. When it happens on a massive scale, the community itself is crippled. So unless we work to strengthen the family, to create conditions under which most parents will stay together, all the rest, schools, playgrounds, public assistance, private concern, will never be enough to completely cut the circle of despair and deprivation.
Yeah. And he was
he
right.
Wrong, audience?
He was right. Well, he was right about having black folks vote Democrat for he definitely was spot on with that one. I mean, that was spot on.
Yeah.
That was spot on. That was spot on.
Now, the funny thing about that speech is this. He said that speech because the Moynihan report had came out to him and it had not been published yet.
Mm.
And he was thinking that it was going to have some a different impact than it did. Then when it came out and the majority of black people saw it, they felt that it was something to detract from the civil rights movement or to put black people in a bad light. From that point forward, LBJ never mentioned family again to black folk.
So, let me ask you this, Brother Supreme. Do you think that if you have people who speak hardcore truth, right? They speak hardcore truth, but we may not like their personality, we may not like their tone, we may not like the perceived intent that we've come up with now in our head. We don't like any of that. But these people, we cannot debunk what these people say. We cannot counter what these people say. So what position does that put that person in? And likewise, how does it look at us? Because we're denying all of this truth simply because we don't like that person.
Yeah, I think you're seeing a lot of it right now. Take, for example, a lot of people say that they had a really bad taste in their mouth with the 94 crime bill, right? And how do you put it? Yet you have in New York right now a lot of people who I don't know if you recall or whatnot, but just about a year ago, you had mainstream people calling themselves Cuomo-sexuals.
What? The
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
Cuomo sex?
yeah,
Oh
because
boy.
they just like them so much, right? And now the guy has set up a what is it, a disaster emergency for gun crime, which is going to be focused on data and science towards the areas that have the most gun crime.
Hmm.
Now, who do you think that that's going to impact the most? Audience?
Yeah, I won't
What
say
do you
anything.
think? What do you think, X?
Oh,
You're an NYC guy.
he's going to be heading to the hood. That's where all that energy is going. Well, most of it is going to the hood. That's just a fact. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you're focusing on uh, uh, the shootings and shit that's related to shootings and illegal guns and people getting murdered, you're going to be heading to the hood at some point. There's no way around it. You're heading to the hood. I mean,
Okay. Now, weren't people for well over a decade making points and saying, hey, black on black crime, shootings in, various cities and areas within the hood and so forth. And what people would say, oh, you're just using white man's talking points. You're just saying this because of this. This is what aboutism.
mhm.
Now you have a guy who a lot of black people said that that was their guy, and he's just created an emergency disaster for the entire state that is going to focus on you.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing of you didn't want to hear it before from people because you thought that the people who were saying it didn't have the right motive or they're racist or any of that stuff without actually looking at what they were saying to see if it had any merit.
Well, we know that race plays a big part in this too. Um, Black folks at times can get away with saying things that other people cannot. And likewise, black folks cannot get away with saying certain things that other people cannot at times. Um, I think that has a lot to do with it. Now people like to say, "Oh, your tone, your energy, your the way you say it, and all this kind of nonsense." Um, I don't think that's it. I think that if I'm screaming at you at the top of your lungs and telling you you just won $1 million, I don't think you'll care that I'm screaming. Yeah, you won't care that I'm screaming on you. But if if I'm telling you, if I'm telling you, if I'm screaming on you and telling you to not be leaving your little babies home by themselves, even though that's the right thing to tell you, you won't like it. Now it's all about my tone. So that's just BS too. That's just a deflection that black folks use, man. That's all.
You know something? I'll counter that. X. I'll make an exception for that in saying that tone, I think, matters in certain cases. Here's an analogy of it. Um, a master chef.
Mm-hmm.
He makes one of your favorite meals from top to bottom, the dessert, the whole nine. But then as he comes to the table and he brings it and it rolls it out to you on the, um, on the on the cart, opens it up, and it's presented to you. It smells good and everything, but he's placed the entire thing on a garbage lid.
Mm.
Are you eating it?
Hell no.
Yeah. So yeah, I can counter the whole idea of yeah, tone does matter to a certain extent, especially if it's a person that you don't know or you have no familiarity with the individual. I get it. And it's not an emergency. It's like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, when you have multiple individuals that tell you the same message, but you ascribe to the message some type of ulterior motive, or that it is originating from a from a place or a person that you don't like, that's where the problem comes in, because then you're not even taking the same, yeah, originally I don't like that individual, but here's another individual that is stating the same thing. Instead of me just saying, oh, this is this person's talking points, let me take time to investigate whether or not it has merit.
Mm.
And for some reason, people have a problem being able to do that, to take the emotion out of certain statements because they believe that it has originated from a place that they don't like.
Yeah, that's true. Um, Often, I mean, because we see it up here. Uh, a person can be saying the most dastardly things about someone. They can be, they can be saying things that are way, way out of line. They could be talking about someone's kids, someone's wife, someone's this, someone's that, talking about their life. And if we like that person, we don't have a problem with them saying it, even though they could be making things up. All right. They could be totally making things up and saying obvious things that, that a child could decipher is not true. And we will accept it because of what we think of the person. But on the other side of that, a person that we dislike, a person that we don't want anything to do with, can be standing up telling us to uh he could be talking to us about anything. He could be talking to us about investment. He could be talking to us about life. He could be talking to us about careers. He could be talking to us about finances. It doesn't matter. If we don't like that person, we don't hear that message, even though everything coming out of his mouth is 100% true. We
Yeah,
will
I
reject it.
can I can agree with that. There's a thought that Zero said where he said, I'm just reading. He said, "Say it nicer, shut up. I don't like you, whatnot." Okay, and I know people have that viewpoint of saying, "Oh, well, whatever, however the truth is stated, person should be able to accept it or whatnot." Um, I'm not of that mind because I just don't think that people are that singular. People are very diverse, and what works for one person isn't going to work for everyone. And I think that that's a cop out in a way, because it's almost like saying that I know this truth and I only can give it one way. And I don't think that's the case. I think that if one knows the truth and they take the time to understand people, that they should be able to convey that message in a way that would be more palatable to the person. We do the same thing with playing sports. Sometimes we know that a person, if we playing football, an older kid you can throw the ball pretty hard and they can catch it. A younger kid, no, you got to throw it in such a way that it's not going to knock them down.
Mm.
But you want to throw it in such a way to where they catch it, and then over time they're able to gain confidence and get better and better and better. But often I think people with this idea of saying, oh, well, they should just be able to accept it. It's almost like you're throwing the ball and leading a person into, like you're playing on the street where a person is you throw the ball and there's a parked car in the way, and you're like, they should catch it anyway, even though it's a parked car right there. Yeah, it's gonna hurt them if they catch it though. And it's like, oh, that doesn't matter. You're like, no, I just don't think that it works that way. I think that's kind of I think that's inhumane.
Yeah, I mean, like the title of this here stream, I don't believe the truth cares who tells it. If I'm walking down the street, right, in my neighborhood, and I say there's some bigoted, biased, freaking old redneck that lives on my block, and I'm walking up the block, and he says, "Don't go down that block, nigger, because if you go down that block, there's a bunch of wild dogs down there, and they're biting the hell out of people." I'm probably not going to disregard what he says because he's an old white redneck. I'm probably not going to disregard it just because of that. And likewise, if a brother comes to me and says the same exact thing, I'm not going to disregard it. I don't even know if I will feel more comfortable about it just because it's a brother saying it. And I think that's what it's about. It's about perceived intent. It's about what's comfortable. It's about what we can swallow, what we can take. And even if it is the truth, we have that problem often with women. You know, I mean, you can't tell a woman the truth most of the time without kind of mixing it in there with, you know, some things that's gonna make her feel good about shit, especially if you're you know, if you're bringing them to task, because you hear people say, well, you know, it's the way you talk to people, you know, you have to, you know, correct them with love and all this so kind of nonsense. I don't believe that. I don't believe that correction requires love. I think I think the love is within the correction, because if I wasn't doing the correction, that means I wouldn't care. I think we get it mixed up. We think that the opposite of love is hate, but it's not. The opposite of love is indifference, because even if you hate someone, that still would indicate or implicate that you care to a degree.
Yeah, yeah. You know, okay. Let me take a thought out of the chat real quick. So TVA says this. He says S.K.C is sounding mighty SJW right now, talking about feels. Okay. Now, what happened if you're dealing with a person who is emotionally driven? How do you convey logical truth to them? A lot of them have not grown up in a household to where they have been able to get logical truth straight chaser to them. And as you know, so far as just looking at them, that they have not been able to accept certain truths that way. How do you get them to accept the truth to be able to be effective? Well, I think a logical person has to understand that, I can't get through to this person this way. I have to put it in a different way.
Yeah, well, if you're going to try to get through to someone who you know from the beginning is, you know, emotionally driven, those people, I would assume that when you talk to them, you're gonna try to not hurt their damn feelings. You're gonna try hard not to hurt their feelings.
Take this for example, X, because you have daughters.
Yes.
Have you had times with them where coming just with a straight logical truth is not effective.
Yes. And
And
you know,
that's the point. And that's the point. So when people say this idea of, well, some people just can't be reasoned with. Well, I know a lot of people who are parents, they can't afford to think that way.
yeah, I guess it's who you're dealing with, right? Because you know, people that we have emotional ties to, emotional attachments to, we probably do them different than someone that we just met on the street some damn where, you know, because
Correct.
these people, we care about these people, you know, these people are in our camp, we love these people. But see, when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? I think it's different levels depending on who the people are. Uh, you can't deal with your wife the same way you deal with your daughter. You're not going to deal with, you know, uh, some young dude up the block the same way you deal with your son, right? So you're going to have to deal with people on, I guess, whatever level you put them on in your own mind. You know, wherever you've put them is going to dictate how you deal with them, right? Wherever they are, you know, on the totem pole of life, on the totem pole of your relationships, on the totem pole of, you know, whatever your mind is, whatever tier they sit on in your mind, that's probably how you're going to deal with them, right? That's kind of like human nature.
To yes, to a certain degree. And I think what that calls for is versatility. And here's the shot at it. I think that people who are really logical understand that you have to be versatile if you want to be extremely effective.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of going back to the whole title of the thing when it says, "Does the truth care who tells it?" Well, I think that a logical person would be able to be versatile enough or open minded enough to understand that, the truth could even be told by an enemy.
Yes.
The truth could be told by a source that I do not necessarily have strong emotional ties to.
Yes. Yes. If you're
And
not, if you're
and
not
I really
connected to the
think that
person.
if you're not, for people who want to hold themselves to be logical people, I don't think that you can just shut that off and say no. These sources are just it, and that's it. You know, I don't think you can truly call yourself a thinker with moving in that way. And I think that that's a major issue with, you know, as I say, the community, as it were. Sometimes people will say, well, why are you talking to this person or whatnot? I've had that question asked a bunch of times. Why was S.K.C over, you know, listening to this person or, you know, interacting with this person, that person? It's like, okay, why can't I be learning?
Mm. Yeah, well, on the internet, especially on YouTube, you know, you're only supposed to talk to certain people. You're only supposed to interact with certain people. You're only supposed to be on certain people's streams and in certain people's chat rooms. You know, those are the rules, brother Supreme. You know it. You know those are the rules.
You're supposed to be tribaled up. And, oh, I forgot. I was supposed to use the proverbial statement. Gang, gang.
Yeah. Yeah. You know the rules, man. So don't act like you don't know the rules up in here.
But yeah, I don't want to drag it out too long or whatnot. If I have any takers that they want to you know, counteract some of the thoughts or whatnot, hey, come on up. I love to discuss it and have a back and forth. But I just think that for the most part, one of the major holes in the community, which I've noticed, is the lack of being able to see the merit of perspectives that come from non-Black people.
Mm.
I think
Yeah,
that's a major flaw.
yeah. And brother Cool Kamasi brings up a good point. He says doctors tell people to curb their diet or curb their unhealthy habits, and people don't listen because it affects their wants. I think we take in anything that's not going to cause us to have to do anything. I mean, you could be telling all kinds of truth, but if it means that somebody got to change something, somebody has to change their habits or change their thinking, as long as you telling the truth and I don't have to change, it's all good. I can listen to you all night. But boy, if you ask me to change something in that truth, I don't think I want to listen. Yeah, I don't think I want to listen. Yeah, I don't want to
An
listen.
example, I think I'll give another example that it may. Let me go ahead and do it. I'll go ahead and jump in head first with it. I know a lot of things have been stated negatively about the boomers, and I get it. I absolutely get it. Nevertheless, is everything that they say incorrect?
Oh well, we know that.
And I think that's an issue that comes up when people have discussions and they say, the colloquial term, oh man, there's the boomers and stuff, like as if everything that comes out of the boomer generation is absolute trash. And that's nonsense. That is nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, not to throw my little anecdotal thing in it, but my old man, would fall under the category of a boomer. So I mean, he told me a lot of good shit. He told me some things that, I didn't take too seriously, but he gave me a hella good advice. His record is like the 95 and 5, 95% good shit, maybe 5% bad shit. So, I for one I don't follow that. I mean, I'll say again, when you talking about someone telling someone the truth about something, and they don't even have to be saying it harshly, all right? A lot of people, they think the truth itself is harsh, all right? It's not even that you're yelling or you're screaming or you're cursing, just the fact that you're telling the truth about something that makes them look in that damn mirror, that alone they consider to be harsh because you're telling the truth about this thing that they don't want you to tell the truth about. At least they don't want you to tell the truth about it the way you're doing it. All right. Because when you telling the truth to someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're telling them the truth about something they did that you thought was out of line, right? When you're doing that, they're going to see that as harsh. Why? Because see, they don't want you to call to account what they did. Because usually when you telling somebody about something that was out of line, what do you force them to do? You're forcing them to look at that action, forcing them to think about what they possibly were thinking about when they did it. All right. And I think that the truth hurts because people get some type of feeling from it. Because, see, once again, we talk about perception. They feel like, oh, you're doubting me, you're disparaging me, you're being negative. You never hear people say you're being negative when you tell a lie. Don't you think that that's strange? I can sit up here and tell a black-faced lie on somebody and they will never say, oh, you're being negative. But if
Yeah.
I tell the truth, though, you're being negative. Why is the truth negative? How is the truth negative? That part I don't understand.
Yeah, I think I don't think it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. But the only caveat that I add with that is I just believe that if a person is truly logical, that they have to understand that the truth does not just come in one pill. It doesn't. It can't just come in one way. I mean, and again, I just go back to the illustration of football. A quarterback knows that he cannot throw the ball the same way every single time and win the game. It's like sometimes you got to throw the bomb. Sometimes you got to throw aside. Sometimes you have to throw it softer or and so there's so many different ways. So it's all according to situation. And if you want to be effective, if you want to try to get to a goal, particularly when you're dealing with a great number of people, yeah, I don't. I, I don't see how you can take the approach of, oh well, I can only do it this way and that's it. You know, that's that. I think the person has to be versatile. So
Yeah, so do I. I mean, because I get up here and I talk all kinds of shit up here on YouTube, but I don't talk like this. When I go into bid on a contract, so so you gotta kind of change it up a little bit. But um, I think that when it comes to truth, all right, especially when you're talking about black folk, when it comes to truth and black folk. I think the truth is really, really emotionally painful. It's mentally painful. So when a person starts speaking it, especially when they get down to the nitty gritty, and start talking about it, I think what it does is it kind of drums up pain because if you're telling the truth, you're telling the truth. All right.
yeah,
So I'll put myself out there. For instance, I have a tendency to talk about these old mamas, or should I say these old mamas. And I have a tendency to talk about the abuse and the beatings and the neglect and all that kind of stuff, and the molestation and things of that nature that's allowed by these women. So I'm not surprised when number one of these old mamas who's like that gets upset because I'm actually telling the truth about her life and situation. And likewise, someone who grew up in that house, I can understand them getting upset when I talk about these things because I'm telling the truth about their life, even though I don't necessarily know it, but I'm telling the truth about their life. I'm telling the truth about what happened to them. When I start talking about the abuse and the neglect and the
mhm,
starving and the bad treatment, so I understand that it will drum up some pain, whether
mhm,
it be to a guy who's now an adult and grew up in that situation, and
mhm,
likewise a woman who's listening who knows she does the things that I'm speaking of. So I understand that's part of it. Um, but I don't care though. Yeah, that's what it is. I
yeah,
don't care
yeah.
that your feelings are hurt because of that. Because
and,
because
and I
you
get
know
that,
it's true.
and I get that. So it's kind of like I'm making two arguments in this. Um, I, I think that individuals should be able, if they're logical in their thinking, they should be able to look at sources that are not emotionally favorable to them, and to be able to pick up knowledge and wisdom, tidbits, truth. And at the same time, that logical individual should be able to understand that not all people are like them, in that a lot of people are not going to be able to separate the emotion from a truth. And that if they want to be effective in sharing truth with others, that they have to understand that, not everybody is going to be able to do what I did. I'm going to have to disseminate it in a way that is palatable to them. So it's a dual argument.
That's true. But isn't it like this though? If you're being told the truth, if I always tell the truth to you, like, like my kids, for instance, all my kids are adults. I always tell them the truth, no matter what. And sometimes the truth that I say make, they get upset. They get, oh, Bob, why say that? But you would think that people telling you the truth would garner some respect. You should respect the fact that I want to tell you the truth, though. Like, if I want to tell you the truth, shouldn't you respect that, as opposed to getting mad because I told you the truth? Getting mad
Yeah.
because of the way I told you the truth. I mean, shouldn't me telling you the truth outrank? Shouldn't that outrank whatever emotional thing it made you go through? Because I know people have said things to me, that were the truth, and I may not have liked it, but at the end of it, I said, well, I gotta respect the brother for telling me the truth. I mean, you would think you would get that. You would get that response, or at least get that thought at the end of it, as opposed to just someone saying, "Oh man, you're too harsh, you're too this, you're too that. I don't like the way you said that." I mean, I don't know. I just thought the truth. I thought the truth. Me, when I was coming up, my father always told me that the truth is more important than what you think of me, son. And likewise, I carried that over to my children. I mean, the truth is more important than what you think of me. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you just for you to like my ass. So I just believe that, man. I believe that the truth is more important than what you think of me. So
Yeah. I would never go into the thought of lying to individuals. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is sometimes people that have this what do you call it? The people who are more, because I'm not one. I'm not a community minded person. But for the people who are that within the community, as it were, I think one of the things that they miss is that they go and they learn this some type sort of knowledge, or wisdom about something or whatnot. Okay, and then they feel that they can disseminate it the way that they got it, as if everybody's going to catch it the way that they did, and that is going to do some sort of good. And then when it doesn't, they get frustrated and get embittered with people, not understanding that there are several different ways in which you can lay that truth out to a person. I think that's the issue. And then you get all these people that get frustrated and they say all these, crazy things. Oh man, I told them the truth, and such and such. I'm like, okay, but it almost comes off as a bit selfish, because you're expecting the people that you're trying to help to be you.
is it about being them though, or are they saying these things to are they saying it to get to a bigger point? You know, because when, especially if you're talking about up here, because we're up here, do you think that people, when they talk, they're talking to a greater thing, right? They're not just talking to one person, two people, five people. They're talking in general terms. So is it that they're trying to make them be them, or are they trying to convince that, that broader crowd to be better, be less irresponsible, be more focused? Is it necessarily that they're trying to make them be like them, or are they even trying to make them be as focused as them, or as responsible as them? Is that the case, or is it just a general thing where they say, well, if you do this, maybe you won't have 5 baby daddies. If you do this, maybe you'll have X amount of money in the bank after saving 5 years, that kind of thing. Because if they're telling them the truth, all right, if they're telling everybody the truth about everything, even if they're singing it in a song or singing a ballad, I mean, some people are still going to not accept it, whether you say it nicely or not. Some truth is not going to be some truth is not going to be accepted, no matter how you say it. Some of it, and I would
Yeah,
like to think that.
I absolutely agree with that.
So
I absolutely agree with that. And I'm not even saying the whole idea of when people say, uh, you know, disseminating the truth in an alternate way, they instantly get to the thought of, oh, you're padding around the bush or not being direct. You're trying to insert all of these niceties or whatnot. Well, I think people forget that sometimes you direct truth in a certain way where it could actually be harder for the individual to get to it, but along that harder path, they grow in ways that they ordinarily would not have. And that has nothing to do with being nice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But see,
So yeah, and I don't want to just absolutely kill the conversation, but that's what I mean when people say that they are logical. I'm like, and then they say, well, I just tell the truth straight, chaser, such and such. How is it logical to do that if you want to be effective?
Well, what I think happens many times, often we think that the way we think, other people think. I think that's what happens. We feel like, well, if someone was saying this to us, we wouldn't take it some kind of way. I mean, I think a lot of times, we do a lot of projecting, especially on the internet. I mean, we do a lot of, it is a
Very
lot of
much
projecting.
so. Very much so. How many times have the audience, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. How many times have you heard a conversation go on where there is a general topic going on? Let's say, I don't know, something like peer pressure or advertising and its effect upon the general populace. And a person on the panel will state during this conversation, well, I'm not affected by such and such, and somebody gonna come to me. I ain't gonna do it. And like that has nothing to do. You can't set yourself as the standard for everyone else. That doesn't make any sense. That's illogical.
True. Very, very true. Very true.
So when you hear these, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do. It doesn't make it. It's a ridiculous beginning of a claim.
That it is. That it is. But it is time for a coin drop because brother D-Rock Den.
Oh, salute to D-Rock Den too, man.
Hit me with a cash app. So, brother D-Rock, you get this. I appreciate you dropping your hard-earned coins on this platform. And also, Brother Cool Kamasi with the Cash App. So, Brother Cool Kamasi, you get this as well. I appreciate you dropping your hard-earned coins on this platform.
I like to hear an answer. Maybe he can type it in the chat. But Zero stated, if you appeal to the false sensibilities of people in effort to be effective, whatever message you're trying to convey will be lost in translation. So my question, Zero, would be, what qualifies their sensibilities to be false?
Dun, dun, dun.
Why is that the default setting? Anytime they have sensibilities, they're false. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just asking, is that the default setting? Is there a situation where their sensibilities have merit?
Yeah, and if you brothers want to come up, and discuss it with my guest of honor, y'all know what to do.
I agree with that, Gabe. That's why I was stating the illustration of a quarterback. A quarterback does not go through the entire game throwing the ball one way. He has to throw it multiple ways if he wants to effectively lead the team. Now, he could be the best bomb thrower that has ever lived and still lose the game because he only knows how to throw it one way.
This comment here from Brother Hawk. And what's good, Brother Hawk? He says people reject objective universal standards that hold everyone accountable the same. Does the truth do that though? Does the truth hold everybody to like the same standard? Does it do that?
I think that there are certain universal standards that that do operate that in that fashion. Zero answers. He says because emotional acceptance of facts or information is subjective and dependent on what you discussed earlier. So then here's the question. Then maybe the audience can help me with this. Is it possible to be emotionally attached to the truth? What say you, X?
Well, I don't believe the truth is emotional. I think the truth. Check your email, Brother Gabe. I
I'm
think
talking about the person. Can a person be emotionally attached to truth?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think people can be emotionally attached to lies. Because the truth is what it is. A lie can be anything. All right. I mean, the lies are probably the most creative things on earth. I mean, the truth is what it is. The sky is blue, the grass is green. That's not subjective. All right. Or is it objective? Lies are, because you can say any damn thing. And like brother Bitcoin is saying, nowadays people say my truth instead of the truth, meaning the truth as I see it, which isn't really the truth, is it?
Well, again, I'm stating, can an individual be emotionally attached to the truth, an objective truth? Zero says yes, of course, but you can be emotionally attached to anything. Never heard of a pet rock, and I understand what he's going with that.
Pet rock.
But at the same time, when I see individuals that are perhaps they're in court or they have been done wrong in some way, and someone stole something from them, I don't see them a lot of times just being cold and straightforward and saying, "Oh yes, this person stole this officer and such and such." I see a lot of emotion involved with it.
Mm.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Well, we've been joined by Brother Gabe A. What's good, Brother Gabe?
Not too
When
much.
when
Not too much.
when a person is lied upon, I see a lot of emotion that's attached to the truth rather than just objectivity of, "Oh yeah, they just lied on me. Yeah, it wasn't the truth." No, there's a lot of emotion attached to that. I
Yeah,
wonder why.
but is that the truth causing it, or is it the lie that caused it? I don't think that. I know the truth can cause people to get emotional, because, like I said earlier, the truth is somewhat painful. Especially if you're talking about things that are uncomfortable for people, things that depict the dysfunction of people, the truth when you talk about prior bad acts of people. I think that those things uh, cause people to be emotional because they don't want to think about, the things that you're talking about. Now, likewise, you can tell the biggest lie in the world, but if that person likes how that lie sounds, they don't even care that it's a lie, because see, that lie made them feel good about something. Sort of like when you say all
But
women are
but but that
queens type thing.
but that but that works both ways though. And it's weird to me why the truth is so associated with pain because it can be equally associated with positive emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good grief. How many times have sons been just overwhelmed by, doing something good, hard, that took a lot of time and effort or whatnot, and they hear their father say, "In truth, I'm proud of you."
Yeah,
That's not a lie. It's positive,
that's true.
yet deeply emotional.
It's getting abstract.
Go ahead, Brother Gabe. I know you want to jump in. Go ahead.
No worries. Y'all can continue with the thought. I'll just jump in whenever.
No, you go ahead, Gabe. I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
No, I was kind of wanted to comment on the way or what I previously spoke of. Just like I think a lot of people are just lazy in their communication methods. That's why they say, "Oh, it don't matter. It's the truth. I can say whatever I want to say, however I want to say it." I mean, rather than like, why are you talking if you don't want what you're saying, the truth that you're saying, to be um digested or understood or received by the opposite party? They just want to. I actually don't understand the logic behind people just spewing out truth without understanding the packaging. Right? It's a difference between getting a gift with a bow on it or getting a gift hurled at you through the air and hit you in the forehead.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I think that it does matter, and okay.
I mean, it's even little stuff.
G-
It's
g-
even little stuff, right? So,
Well,
like, I'll just give a quick example, right? Very quick example. So I do work as a consultant, so I have all types of customers all the time. So in our reporting structure, one thing that we do, which is typically that we talk about strengths and weaknesses from the assessments that we've done. But we don't say strengths and weaknesses. We say strengths, areas where we think the organization is doing very well, and then we say areas of opportunity, right? It's the same as weaknesses, but it's received differently. areas areas of opportunities, like weaknesses is more like an audit type of thing, where this is more of like an assessment type of thing. Now, if you're auditing an organization, yeah, you're like, you're weak there, you can get fined here. But areas of opportunity versus weaknesses is something that can be digested better by the customer. Just that quick example. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's just odd to me how a lot of times people will say, whenever they use the idea of truth and disseminating that truth or communicating it, all of a sudden they're talking about being as efficient and expedient as possible. Now, with all other things, oh man, you can, talk about stuff and you can come up with all sorts of poetic and, pontificate on all sorts of crap in various ways and make jokes about it or, crafty ways of coming up with it. But when it comes to truth, it can only be delivered this one way, direct. That's it.
Well,
it must be expedient, and that's it. It's like that's odd. That's crazy to me.
Doesn't it depend on what you're talking about and who you're talking to, though, right? Both of those things matter.
But then, X, what you just stated, a logical person would get that. That it does. A logical person has to understand situation.
I think it even applies to just child raising too. Like I think it could be business, it could be personal, because I think that even messages, like just because you have kids, that don't mean that every single kid receives the truth the same way or receives good parenting the same way. It almost needs to be tailored per child.
Correct.
It's like, but to just hurl off truth and say, y'all was raised good because y'all all received the same scully of parenting doesn't mean that the same result will be there, right? Because it wasn't tailored for the kid, for one of the kids, but it was good for the other one. So
I get that.
And I just that's just kind of weird to me that that assumption is made off the top.
Mm-hmm.
People don't care about the truth being received. They don't care how it's received. They just want to be in a position where where people listen to them say it. I think,
and that's what I'm saying is that's why again I keep going back to the illustration of the quarterback. The quarterback could legitimately state to the coach, I threw the ball. It landed in his vicinity. Yeah, dude, but he was about to get clipped over the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I threw the ball, coach. It hit his hands.
Hold on a second, because we just got a cash out for Brother Hulk. I appreciate that, Brother Hulk, and you get this. I appreciate you dropping your hard-earned coins on this platform. And I just had to block my damn stalker. Always in here, boy. Always in here. They claim to hate me so much, but they're always here. Goddamn fan perpetrating as a fucking hater. Won't you bring your ass up here and talk about something, you motherfucker? You ain't gonna do that shit, are you? See, I'm on my channel tonight, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. Bring your ass up here, motherfucker. Send me an email. We can talk about it. But
who is this dude?
I don't know.
Some
motherfucker came on my channel one night. I had the newlyweds up here. I had Lady Danielle and Lady Curlin up here, and he was like, "Oh, why does Prophet always sound like he's chewing on a pork chop?" And of course, the motherfucker got roasted when he said that. But the motherfucker, he follows me around now, just saying, "Oh, Prophet a pork chop, Prophet a pork chop." I don't know. I guess he's getting think he's getting under my skin. If you really want to get under my skin, motherfucker, come up here, but you ain't gonna do that, are you? Are you?
A lot of times I was looking at TVA when he was making his comments, and and I just wonder again, why does everything have to be so extreme? What happened if a bomb is going off and all this time? It's like, man, a lot of times when going throughout your normal day and you're talking to people, it's not some emergency situation. Even the for everything that is going on with all the CRT stuff. Yeah, I understand that people are going to get emotional about certain things, and it could seem like crunch time and all that stuff, but you don't have to get crazy with how you disseminating the truth about why you accept it or why you don't. I don't know. It's we look like we got Hulk that's gonna come up in Zero. So Gabe Bay said that he's gonna body Zero. So I was like,
Uh-oh.
I said that. I don't know. I don't know what I would get out of that.
I want fucking Thundercat to come up here, but I know the motherfucker ain't. He ain't coming up here. Yeah, motherfuckers love hiding. These faceless fucking avatars. They like hiding in your chat room and talking shit, but don't got the fucking nuts to fucking come up here and say nothing. See me, if I'm in your chat room and I'm talking shit, motherfucker, drop the link. I'll come up there. Yeah, I'll come up there.
Here's another situation, Gabe, and I don't know if you'll follow me or if you'll agree with me on this one or not, but I can't say all, but I have been finding more and more that a lot of individuals who seem to be very dogmatic in their approach to conversations about whatever subject it is, they say that they're logical, and they say that they're just following, a reasonable mindset. But yet, if information was to come at them that same way that they disseminate it, they would instantly dismiss it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, you got to understand, a lot of people are living their truth any damn way. All right. A lot of the truth that we see is synoptic, right? Meaning, seen from different angles, right? If all three of us are standing in a room and something happens in that room, we'll all see the same thing, but we'll probably all have different descriptions of it depending on what angle we are watching it from, right? I mean, if we're standing in the street, me, Brother Gabe, Brother Supreme, we're all standing in the street and we see a car accident. All of us see the car accident, but I saw it from across the street. Brother Gabe saw it from down the road. You saw it from upstairs of your house. So we'll be talking about the same car accident, but we'll be describing it different because we all saw it, from a different point of view. I was standing down the block. He was standing up the road. You were upstairs. So we saw the same thing, but we also saw something different from each other. If that makes
sense. And there's going to be all sorts of things that come into play with that. I mean, for example, let's say if you have been in a car accident before, there's certain aspects of it that you're going to get that that person like me who hasn't been in one wouldn't pick up on. Gabe may be, I don't know, a truck driver or something, and the accident involved an 18-wheeler. He's going to see things in it that probably neither one of us are.
True.
The person's truth who will come across as the truth is going to be the loudest one, the most disrespectful one.
Yeah.
And the one who is able to argue that the other truths were not true.
Are invalid. Yes.
Invalid. Yep.
Hold on a second, because the Negroes is showing out in the goddamn super chats. Super Cash App, from Brother Zero. So when you drop a super chat of $10 or more, you get this. A big coin drop on the platform. Appreciate that, Brother Zero. But go ahead.
What's going on, Zero? I think he may be
what's
trying
up?
to. What's going on?
Nothing, just
Brothers,
listening.
Oh, he said nothing, just listening. So, being that we got you up here, Brother Zero, what do you think about the example that we just spoke of, where three people can see the same thing at the same time, but describe it differently? So, whose truth is more of the truth? If they're all looking at the same thing, they're describing it differently because they're seeing it from different angles or from different different points of view. Whose truth is more true, or is it all true?
It's all true, but what happened? I mean, there's always a dependency on what happened. Who received the brunt of whatever it was that happened? It could be good or bad. It doesn't matter what you witnessed. Witnesses can see and then interpret whatever they want to, but the person who was affected by something is going to have also an alternative to what happened. So, I mean, you got enough people, you can kind of like approximate a consensus. But if three people are watching the same thing and there's three different interpretations of that same thing, why is it an assumption that there's truth involved in what their accounts are? Why can't we look at the people or person affected or whatever was affected? You gotta look at the outcome versus the people who are there and have something to say about it. This is precisely why the news goes and grabs the dude with the with the cornrows and the 15 gold teeth and to represent something.
Yeah, with a vocabulary.
I mean, that's almost never
100
done.
Words. I
mean, especially around here, around these parts. It's whoever is liked the most or whoever is loudest. Exactly. That's the truth that gets elevated.
Right. So I had a stream on this last year where I was talking about, like, if people mitigate their messages, they like, for instance, when S.K.C was talking about the quarterback throwing the ball to different players. Yeah, you have to vary up the plays. However, the plays are created before the quarterback even touches the ball. Even audibles are preset. So when a quarterback calls an audible, it's still a preset play. It's just something he has to do on the fly in order to, counteract a defense adapting to whatever their offense is. So in any case, there's always going to be some type of truth established beforehand before the quarterback even touches the ball. So yeah, he can call an audible. Yeah, he can do whatever he wants, but there's still going to be a preset truth to whatever play he's making. Same thing when you're dispensing information. You can't dismiss the emotionality of information. You can't dismiss people's emotions and just say, take this or whatever. But at the same time, the problem with mitigating your message by flowering up things, for instance, Gabe and I do have the same business language where instead of a company saying, like, as he stated, weaknesses, they would say areas of opportunity. It's just like when you have your performance reviews, stuff like that. Now, the problem with that, there isn't a problem in the business sense, because in business, they don't care how you feel about it anyway. They just do it because business professionalism is it's mandatory. It's a standard. Like, people are trying to make money. It's not the same as dealings with, like, people being social. But in the realm of, like, people being social, the second you start trying to dress up your language, whatever you're saying gets lost. Like, for example, instead of saying weakness and you say area of opportunity, there's a lot of different interpretations for area of opportunity. Some people might take it as weakness. Some people might think they're actually doing good and get reinforced to do the dumb shit that they've been doing all year. So there's levels of emotional communication that has to be considered when you're talking to people and you're trying to get them to understand something that may be objective, that they're, like, when we're talking about people accepting truth or whatever. So people accepting truth emotionally is super difficult because of what you guys were discussing earlier, where if you do word replacement and mitigate your message, then what is your message? You're changing it. Because the second you start using words to replace what more definitive words mean, and people interpret them a different way, and then your message becomes convoluted, and you think that you're reaching people. You're reaching them, sure, you're reaching them on an emotional level, but what you were trying to say in the first place is lost in translation.
How do you like estimate that at the end? Like, how do you know? So two things. One, why is it considered flowering up the message if you are considering your audience and you are using the words that you believe will be greater received by that audience? Like, why is that flowering up? Or it sounds almost like you too scared to say the right thing. you too scared to just say it.
Some of it is that, but it doesn't have to be scared to say the right thing. It's you. For example, saying scared to say the right or scared to say the right thing is the same thing as saying reaching people emotionally. So those two phrases are the same thing, but people can interpret those two phrases completely differently depending on how emotional they are about it. You know, if again, like I'll use your example, when you say area of opportunity, we have the same thing on our performance reviews. Some people might take that as, okay, I need to work on this. Some people might take that as, oh, I'm not doing anything wrong. Here's some additional stuff that I might look into and might not. Because when you say areas of opportunity and you use that as a descriptor for what someone's performance level is, or what a particular business performance level is, some people might interpret that in a very positive way, and then that positive way might reinforce bad habits that they've been doing all year, which is what the company's trying to get away from. They're trying to get you to stop using bad habits and gravitate towards more productive habits, but you've interpreted area of opportunity as a means of saying, well, I'm already doing great.
But that's not an issue of the communicator of the truth. That's an issue of the person interpreting the truth.
Exactly.
If I can insert this one thought real quick. Okay, I understand that works in the land of business, but when you're talking about Black people in the Black manosphere and extended, Black people, for the most part, use a lot of emotionally charging language. A lot of it is negative. So how does that factor into the acceptance of truth? I'm asking both of you.
Okay, I made that distinction.
When you have those parameters already in the background.
Okay, so we rewind the stream. I made that distinction when I first started talking about how in business language, it's a different thing versus people talking to each other socially. It's like one of the first things I distinguished. So I agree, and to what Gabe said, that will be up to someone interpreting words. Again, I agree, but that's exactly what y'all are talking about. That's what y'all have been talking about. People interpreting things depending on how or what they feel about something. And yeah, Black people do use a lot of emotionally charged language. I'm one of those people that use a lot of emotionally charged language. In fact, what I tried to do at first last year, and I don't want to make this personal, but what I tried to do was sterilize the information, not try and charge people and not try and butter them up either. Just sterilize it this way, regardless. But then you have the likability factor. Like right now, I have a lot of people that like me, but that's because I stopped beating them over the head with legal parameters of what's going on. I went more. I stopped doing that.
Why?
Well, because of what exactly you guys are talking about right now. If people interpret something emotionally in a way where they don't like what you're saying, they don't like the way you're saying it, you're just gonna have problems. They're not gonna try and hear that shit. And you do have to appeal to some people emotionally. Like, for instance, I was talking about a situation, an anecdote personal anecdote with my family, how feminism incentivizes women to do what they do. Now, last year when I would give the information in a very sterile way, I get people almost crying on panels. No, that's not what happens. but then last night people were like, "Oh, I can totally relate to that." Like, it was very common because it's a common happenstance.
Correct. But do you think it's really that people have started to gravitate towards you or accept your messages because you changed the way you deliver the truth, or because YouTube is a click? I disagree. I think it's because YouTube is a clicky place, and and people be clicking up and clicks. Click.
Okay, but Gabe, I have people that fucking hated me like 6 months ago, and they be over there like, "Hey man, what's up?"
Well, of course, they'll hate. Well, they'll hate you again, brother Zero, in another 6 months.
yeah, I just got to give it another 6 months, or I got to say the wrong thing.
That's it. And guess what? That wrong thing that you say will probably be something that is the truth.
Right.
I'm telling you. I mean, people don't get mad at lies, man, unless you lie directly on a person and say, you did this and the person really didn't do it. But if you tell these grandiose lies that make people feel good, they don't even have a problem with it, man. And they know your black ass is lying. But if they feel good about that lie that you're telling, they're not going to have a problem with it until they get angry at you.
But that lends itself to the fact that there is value in saying things nicer. Like I make fun of this shit. I make fun of it. Like when people are on that news, just say it nicer, but there's a lot of value in it. There is.
Yeah, if you want to be effective.
Right. But again, so when you say effective, I have to go back to the example we was talking about where if you change the language, like how effective can you be if people are misinterpreting what you're saying? Or misinterpreting whatever message you're trying to convey on an outcome level or whatever you're trying to get across. When people start misinterpreting it because you are saying it nicer, how effective are you?
Well, I think that involves what I think would be a lack of creativity.
Is that the case though, or is it the audience or whoever you're speaking to? When I say audience, that could be one person or 1,000 people, because you can tell a truth and get in the middle of 50 people and they'll all hate it. But if you tell that same truth to a different group of 50 people, maybe not so much. So I think it's more so the perception of the truth and who you're talking to and the mind frame of the audience, right?
Well, look at it.
I think it depends on the.
Look at it from this perspective. Comedians are some of the most creative people, and often they're able to convey certain truths in ways that people grasp it and laugh at it. Mm-hmm. But then later think about it and say, man, that is correct, such, and they never forget it.
I also think effectiveness, there needs to be a metric for effectiveness, right? For a comedian, using S.K.C. as an example, effectiveness of a joke is if they laugh, right? I think on YouTube, a lot of the effectiveness of that, a lot of, I guess, bigger content creators use is views and money. So if you ask, hey, is by the way they're communicating their truth or the truth, if they're being effective, if their goal is money and views, then yeah, they're being effective for sure. They definitely being effective. But if it's for some actual tangible change in the listeners' lives, people could just listen and just go about their lives, right? I mean, even using Kevin Samuels as an example, I think that it's just a popular, I mean, not just, but I think it is a popular thing to listen to him and just go and keep your lives going. Like, I don't think it really creates a big change in the women or the men.
Gabe, don't say that out loud and take that back.
There is no hate whatsoever. But that's why I say, what is the metric for the effectiveness? views and money, yeah, if that's what they're saying. But if it's, I mean, actual tangible change in people's lives, nah, that's not it.
Yeah, well,
That's not it.
let's look at that. Let's look at the brother Samuel's model. I mean, he's, polished and, has on a nice suit, and he's not yelling and screaming and calling women bitches and hoes. And, he's not doing a lot of that. He's basically keeping a pretty measured tone, and he's telling the quote unquote truth. And he has a big audience, but there's still people out there who don't like it, because they don't like the fact that he's telling the truth, even though he's doing it in a pretty calm, laid back kind of way, right? So I don't think it's necessarily tone. I think it's the message. Whatever message you're quote unquote delivering, I think the message itself has a lot to do with it. Because I think a lot of people they don't care. If you're talking about something abstract, right, or something, that doesn't speak to them directly, if it doesn't speak to them, quote unquote, directly, I don't think they care about your tone. But I think your tone bothers people when they feel that truth directly. When they feel, notice I keep saying feel, when they feel like you're talking about them, when they feel like you're talking to them, and don't let it be spot on. Don't let it be spot on. That's when the truth, quote unquote, hurts folks. But we've been joined by Big J Triple X. What you
Big
got?
J said that he's gonna give Gabe A the real truth.
Now,
What you got, Big J?
here's the thing about the term truth, right? Okay, it's one thing to say the truth, but what if the facts within the truth changes? Is it still the truth? Because
I think
I
that's
think it's a
an
lie at that
oxymoron.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
right.
that's an
Okay.
oxymoron.
Okay. I'm glad that you say that, because just like what happened on here last week when I was on here, if you're going to use a stat and quote the movie, what was that movie name? With Jamie Earl Jones and Diana Carroll, what's that movie called? And using that as an anecdotal evidence of the black man being kicked out the household. When I used that movie was made in 1974 or 75, but I used a stat, a Supreme Court case in 1968 outlawing that. So a lot of people in the chat room went hysterical. So I'm just sitting here like, well, okay, if the facts change, if it's no longer true, why are people still trying to make that what was true into a fact today, when that fact is now a misnomer?
I think this is a question that only Zero can answer.
Hold on.
I'm lost.
Let me answer. Because what we're dealing with, brother Big J, is that whole thing. I'll go back to it. My truth, their truth, his truth, her truth. That is why those things come up, because everybody has their own truth. There is no the truth. All right. It's their truth as they see it, her truth as she sees it, his truth as he sees it. I think that there's a lot of that going on, especially on this media.
I call that the Oprah Winfrey Dale King type of thing, because they're the one that bring that lexicon of my truth and his truth and her truth and all that shit. That's the Oprah Winfrey Dale King type.
Well, Big J, I think everybody here accepts that there is one truth.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody on this panel does not accept the ideas of multiple subjective truths.
No, absolutely not. That's ridiculous.
So the question he asked about like the facts of something changing. Let's just say abortion got overturned. The abortion law got overturned. Roe v. Wade tomorrow. So previously, when it was legal, it caused a lot of problems. So it had a cause and effect on society. Now it's no longer true. And then you can argue, well, it's no longer true that you can do it. So what are you talking about? That's the argument that you and David were having the last time you were talking.
No. It's one thing talking about abortion in that manner.
No, I'm just using it as an example.
Right. But that's a poor example because abortion is something that's it does affect society, but if it outlaws, let's say we talk about the single parent homes, right? Oh, 85% of single mothers are black women. Well, I can look at a stat today and it says 65, not 85. Well, the 85 thing came in the 1980s. We're in 2020, and why are people in 2021 is still using 1970s, 1980s talking points? If it's no longer true, why still use the same talking points if it's no longer true? So therefore, though, you're lying. Therefore, if somebody's doing it, it's still a lie. And that's why I keep on saying the black manosphere is just talking in circles. Around certain topics.
So you don't think the previous single mother rate had an effect on the current single mother rate?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it does.
So that's as simple as it gets. You guys didn't have to like go into a big fight about it. There was definitive effects of what happened. Whether or not it's 80% or 60% now is irrelevant because it's still astronomically high. And the previous one had an effect on the current one.
Okay, it's not relevant.
Y'all could have came to an agreement on that.
It is not relevant if you're talking about women of the women within our age range, women of our let's say of the women that we're grew up with and dating. Those women are different than the women of our mothers and our grandmothers. So therefore, though, you can't use the same rules and apply them to the women of today, because the circumstances in 1970 and 1980 are different than is today.
Right, and that's not what I did. So I'm gonna repeat what I said. So the previous single mother rate can have an effect on the current single mother rate. It doesn't matter if the women are different or anything like that. The fact of the matter is you have astronomically high percentages of single mothers regardless of the era. So if there was an effect that single mother rates have on a community, that's pretty much the basis of what y'all were talking about. Y'all got into the weeds, like for instance, you're going into the weeds of how the women are different and stuff like that right now, where you already have the numbers and you cited the numbers. Both of you cited the numbers. So the numbers in this case are pretty much at the heart of what y'all were talking about. The particulars are the particulars, but the fact of the matter is there was a very high single mother rate, which hasn't changed that much. And the previous single mother rate has an effect on the current single mother rate because you have single mothers raising single mothers. So correct. you guys could have been in agreement about what was going on. Sure, the numbers got lower, but that doesn't change the fact that there's still an astronomically high amount of single mothers, and the community is still bad.
But what happened last week? Your boy went ahead. It was trying to apply yesterday's issue on today's women when the culture has changed over time.
So here's a question. Here's a question to you, Big J.
Go ahead.
Did the culture that was passed down to today's women from their single mothers, does that affect them?
Yes, it does affect them, but at the same time, you can't. At the same time, the way they became single mothers is different than our generations of women that became single mothers.
Exactly.
So
because
it was different. It was different how they became single mothers, and how some of us use some stats. I know everybody likes to use these stats on people, but whenever time when you sit there and look at the numbers, it never tell you on how these women became single mothers. It just say out of wedlock birth. It doesn't say well some of those women could be with a man or had a fiance, or it doesn't even
Well,
actually.
you're going into
break
the
down.
nuances of it
Right.
now, though.
Yeah,
You're going.
well, if you're out there saying 85% and keep on saying 85%, and it's not, and if you're looking into the weeds, is not true. Therefore, though, you have to be lying. Therefore, it's a lie if you keep saying it's 85% when it's not.
Okay, so Big J, here's one thing that I find that I think you're getting hung up on is I think when you see the numbers, you get hung up on the numbers, and the only reason why the individuals in the manosphere brought those numbers up in the first place was because other individuals were saying that this big number of what they're talking about, or this majority, didn't exist.
Yes,
They were saying that they were lying. So when those individuals said, "Oh, whoa, this can't be a lie because there's numbers that say this, and it's over 50%."
Yeah.
So that's a majority.
Yeah.
And that is why that argument came up. So even if you want to throw out the specific number, if a person was to say to you, the manosphere is saying that the majority XXXXX, how would you defend that? Would they be lying?
They would be lying if they
if they would be lying if they said majority.
If it's too, if they won't break down of what constitute as a single parent, what constitute as a single mother in their eyes. If you won't sit there and say, well, Sarah, she was fucking around and she got knocked up by Harry, John, and Bob. Well, that's different between Tina, who just happened to fuck one dude, and there was in a relationship, and the relationship still continue after the child was born.
So they would be lying by saying that a majority of the Black community does not come up in a two-parent household.
Therefore, by that logic, not all single mothers are created the same.
Who cares if they're created the same? I'm just saying, are they a two-parent family?
I don't think anyone's saying that, though, brother Big J.
If the topic is, well, there's no fathers in the household. Wait a minute. There are some fathers who are in the household, but they're not married to the mother. So therefore, on tax purposes, those women are still single on certain laws.
That's always been the case. Even when it was 80%, that was the case.
Well, I just pulled up this, because I have this thing that I do because, people are always talking about that's the white man's data. So I pull up the hold on. This is from Afro News, the Black Media Authority. So this ain't the white man's data. And what they say is Census Bureau higher percentage of Black children. Now these Black folks talking, a higher percentage of Black children live with single mothers, which we all know, everybody except brother Big J.
What does it say at that line after that?
Only
right
30.
Underneath it.
Only 38.7% of African American minors live with both parents. I didn't even want to read that part because I already know it. I'm subscribed to Afro News. I'm subscribed. They say a disproportionate number of Black children under 18 live in single parent homes, according to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau. Oh, y'all probably don't want to know that because that's the white man's data. But and it's annual.
But it tastes like white cake, though.
Yeah, it tastes like white. In its annual America's Families and Living Arrangements data collection, the Bureau examined marriage and family, the living arrangements of older adults, and other household characteristics. It found that the majority of the 73.7 million American children under the age 18 live in families with two parents, 69%, a decrease from 88% in the 1960s. Of those 50.7 million children living in families with two parents, 47.7 million live with two married parents, and 3 million live with two unmarried parents. broken down by race. However, the statistics show stark differences. The percentage of white children under 18 who live with both parents almost doubles that of black children, according to the data. While 74.3% of all white children below the age of 18 live with both parents, only 38.7% of African American minors can say the same. Instead, more than 1/3 of all black children in the United States under the age of 18 live with unmarried mothers, compared to 6.5% of white children. The figures reflect a general trend. During the 1960 through 2016 period, the percentage of children living with only their mother nearly tripled from 8 to 23%, and the percentage of children living with only their father increased from 1 to 4%. So, what did we learn? We learned that more black folks, percentage-wise, we're not talking about the hard numbers. The hard numbers are going to be higher. Why? Because there's more white people than there are black people.
I don't feel like that's true.
Yeah,
what?
Okay, and I can't agree with everything you had just said, T.P.O.T. But but watch this, T.P.O.T. Nowhere it doesn't says, oh, is these children a product of divorced parents, or these out of wedlock, one night stands. It does not break down of who or does any of these children knew their fathers, or have or actually been around their fathers as much.
It's irrelevant.
The data tasted too sweet for me.
Yeah, that's irrelevant.
No, it's not. No, it's not. See, that right there is an incomplete study. That's incomplete.
How though?
Well, this goes to y'all conversation. Y'all conversation is fitting perfectly with what he's saying.
If the argument is
amazing.
If the argument is the downfall of the black community is though there is no the children doesn't know the father, or never was been around the father. Well, that kind of that information is skewed, because though the CDC will sit there and tell you what, well, most black men are in, or most black fathers are in the lives of their children. If you going by the CDC, so you have to sit there though.
If I can interject,
can somebody repeat what X said nicer?
Well, I can repeat what Big J was saying, and we're going back to our football thing. See, even though wide receiver 1 caught 15 balls, what the stats doesn't show is that how he felt when he caught the balls.
Right.
because one of them he could have caught one-handed, and he could have felt good about it when he slid out of bounds. The other ones, they were really pitched to him, and they were real soft when he caught them. All of that matters.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You're trying to use the sports analogy. Let me say this to D-Rock then. Wherever I say anything about female driven. What about female driven? Let me tell you something, D-Rock. Since you want to talk about what's female driven, well, let me tell you something. Then how come people like C.J. King, who wrote the Instagram, talk about he got law degree? He ain't talking about helping black men out. He worried about black pussy.
What?
No.
How do we get
talk about female driven? If you talk about female driven,
how do we get there?
No.
Oh my goodness! I think Zero is gonna have
and how did we?
He's gonna have a live stream on this.
How did we get to brother C.J. King?
No, because
how did we get to him?
It's my critique.
I'm not touching this one.
It's my critique of the black manosphere. We're worrying more about pussy.
Where did that come from? That has never been inserted in this conversation at all.
And you gleaned that from C.J. King. Wait a minute, brother.
The praise of Negroes on this space of C.J. King's Instagram post last year have how all them Negroes sit up on YouTube talking about, oh, look how good CJ King did. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm sounding like David Carroll now. Oh my goodness. Well, not once in his thing he said, I'm gonna help black men out with my law degree.
I wish I could see. I wish I could see Gabe A's face right
Well,
Me too.
Well, yeah. Well, wasn't the point that
Listen,
if I remember correctly, and we done went on off to some other shit now, but I thought that brother King was talking about he was the prize. I thought that was what everyone was talking about, not him wanting ass or nothing like that, right?
I haven't heard about CJ King. What was that? 2019 Manosphere? Like,
Yeah,
Something like that, man. I don't know, man.
That's a brother.
Big J, he got a good memory,
Yeah,
man.
he graduated from law school, I remember, and everyone was talking about how he was saying that he was the prize. I mean, Big J said he was all about pussy and all this kind of stuff, but I don't think that was what brothers were harping on. Brother Big J, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they were harping on that. I think they were harping on the fact that they agreed with him that, he was the prize for the simple fact, number one, he's a black man. Number two, obviously an intelligent black man. Number three, a black man who has something going on in his life. Obviously, I think that was the main point that brothers was talking about, not the getting ass part. I don't.
Well, I think some of it may have to do with the young man sharing a bunch of those white man sweet cake stats.
Oh, he went and got the white man's degree. What you talking about? That's the white folks' degree, man. That's the white folks' degree. And yeah, brother, NYC Song, man, you have a point. When we talking about some truth now, all right? He said, well, because I said, this ain't the white man's data. And what did brother NYC Songman say? He said, well, if they're using the stats of the U.S. Census, it is kind of, sort of the white man's stats. And guess what?
He's correct. The black man don't have any stats.
All
we don't have any
white man's stats.
All of it is the white man's data.
So that means that you should reject it all and go by what you feel, because math is irrelevant.
Math is racist.
I think we need to. I think we need to appeal to emotional sensibilities on this one.
Wait a minute, but how can you just say math that we should, that Negroes on here are rejecting math, but then though y'all rejected my math when I said
my math
is actually decreasing.
Oh, okay. So I'll be a bit more serious.
No one rejected it.
What are you saying is decreasing?
The single parent households. I mean, the single motherhood.
Okay, so how is it decreasing? Are there more black women getting married, or is more black women just not having children?
More black women is actually both. Both. Well, actually, black men not having children either.
Okay, so which one is it? Are black women not having as many children, or is the marriage rate of black women increasing?
I said the former and not the latter.
Well, so they're having less children. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
What is it?
According to some studies about millennials, that's not and also the availability of a certain Plan B drugs though.
Okay, so is that helpful to them to have less children?
Well, that's to the individual person how they feel. About
no. You were talking about as a community, right?
You're going from macro to micro for convenience right now.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, because you were talking about community a little bit a while ago, so that's why I'm saying. Is that a good thing?
I mean, it should be a good thing to y'all. I mean, y'all the one.
No, not to us. Not to us. I'm talking about
I don't
to
even know
the
what's
community.
happening. I'm gonna drop
to the
down. Thanks for having me.
No, we need
Peace
you
out.
here,
Don't leave,
We
brother
need
Gabe.
you
I don't know
here,
what's
Gabe.
happening.
Gabe, don't go,
I
don't
really
go.
don't know.
Don't leave.
I really don't know what's
Gabe.
happening at all.
Don't leave,
I don't know
Gabe.
what is
Please.
going on.
Please, Gabe.
I mean, it's no disrespect to nobody. I'm just very lost right now.
No.
So
but you're in
am
a
I.
good place. You're
So
in a
am
good
I.
place, Gabe.
That's a good place to be lost
Yes,
in the
You're in a
dark.
safe. You're in a safe
Okay.
place.
You're in a good
I'll
place.
hang around a little bit and
As
I'll see.
as
But
as
if I
long
remain
as
lost,
you
I'm gonna have to drop.
as long as
So-
you see truth in this lost, brother Gabe, as long as you can see some truth in it,
Right.
it
So-
all matters.
See, when you say
Big
stuff
J-
like that, I think I'm going back to the dropping.
No, you're good. You're good, Gabe. You're good. It's all gonna come full circle in just a second.
Okay, I see.
Big J, and I'm just asking because I do not know because I've only had a few conversations with you. Are you a pro Black community guy?
Pro common sense though. Pro logic. Pro.
Well, I'm asking, do you want to see the Black community thrive?
Yeah, yes, I do want to see the Black community thrive.
Okay, so are having Black women have less children in this day and age? Would you say that would be a move towards thriving?
Well, if that means though we'll have less dysfunctional families. If it leads to more dysfunctional families, then yes, it would be a good thing.
Is it leading to less functional families?
We don't know that because according to y'all's argument, according to y'all's argument, a lot of dysfunctional families begins with single parent homes, led by women. So therefore, by that argument, if there's less single mothers, then it should be the good thing, right?
Okay, so you're saying,
according to y'all's
and I think this question will help Gabe come back into the conversation. Are you of the opinion, Big J, that the way that Black women are moving in this day and age is moving the Black community back towards more structured families?
A good question, and let me say it like this with a little caveat. The answer is no, because your argument is a loaded argument, but I'll bite. The answer is no. However, the mentality of Black men has to change too, though.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No, it's all yours now, Gabe.
I don't have anything. I don't have any input. I'm just out here walking in the middle of the night in the dark. But it was a good discussion, man. I definitely appreciate y'all.
Well,
y'all.
don't be in the dark too long because I don't think
Absolutely.
that the truth resides there.
Brother Gabe knows he's always welcome up here. You know, he's always welcome. Brother Big J ran him off. God damn it. You ran off Brother Gabe, Big J. Damn it. Yeah, but if you think about, okay, let's go to let's bite. Let's go to where Brother Big J is going, right? Now, if you're going to say that we are wrong, everyone who talks about this is wrong based on, because we're not speaking the facts per se. We may be telling the truth, but we're not speaking facts per se. Hold on, y'all. God damn it. Appreciate that, Brother Gabe. And you know, when you drop that, you get this. A big coin drop on this platform.
Confusion fee.
I appreciate that super chat, brother Gabe. And if you want to come back up, man, please do. Brother Gabe is always welcome up here. But
Man, that's why I love Gabe, man.
brother Big J. Now you say that. So are you trying to say that when we talk about these things, we may be telling the truth, but we're not giving facts? Is that the point that you're trying to make, brother Big
Yes,
J?
yes, in a way, and I'm gonna add on to that. It's like though you're pouring water on a grease fire. Is what is you know when like when you're telling facts, but you're not delivering truth. Therefore, you're giving ammunition to the other side, and the argument is like a snake eating its own self. I mean, you're not, you did everything except for sweeping out the front porch. I'm gonna use old southern term. You did everything except sweeping the floor. Per se. If if men want to win against the propaganda, you have to deliver. Uh, you have to deliver everything. You can't just leave. You can't just leave out uh, some things left unsaid. Um, that's where I'm coming at.
Yeah, but you're assuming that everyone's mission is the same. That's an assumption that everybody is trying to
Well,
lay it out or teach the lesson. Or I don't think, and I think that's a problem on media because uh, everybody thinks everyone has the same mission. Everyone's after the same thing, the same goal. And even if you say, okay, all of us, say there's 30 of us on the internet, 30 of us on YouTube, and we all say we want to see black people be better. If we said that, now all 30 of us may do it totally different. I mean, we may do it totally different. We may go about it different. We may talk about it differently. We may even have a different point of view on racism, on family, on culture, on legacy. But all of us say we want black people to be better. So if all 30 of those people want black people to be better, I mean, who are we to say, well, you're not doing it the right way to make black people better? Now, these two guys over here are, but you other 28, y'all are doing it wrong. I mean, I just don't think that we should be putting ourselves in a position to kind of quote unquote perceive someone's intent. We talked about this earlier at the top of the stream that we think we know what everyone's intentions are. Therefore, that's when we have a tendency to judge the truth or not, depending on what we think a person's intention is.
Intent is, yeah.
Okay.
See, Big J. To give you an example of that, when I asked you whether or not you wanted to see black people thrive, and then you asked the thought about, or rather, X asked the thought about wanting black people to be better, and that could be, I would say, a mission for some people. I know that there's a lot of people within the manosphere that they have that said mission. Mine, I mean, I don't look at it like that. I don't want black people to be better black people. If I had any preference, I would just like for them to be better people in general.
Yeah,
but that goes beyond what I think is an abstract term called black or blackness.
Yes.
Okay. Then to X to profit to X. Well, to your to the earlier part of your statement. Then therefore, I have to ask the question. Then, what is the purpose of the Black Manosphere 2.0? And what is the purpose of Manosphere 2.0 in Read 2.0 if it's just is it just what is the purpose of it? I'm gonna ask you this.
Only Zero can answer that question.
No, I don't want to run down the history again because the thing is, it's all.
Then therefore, then what is the purpose of SYS being the S.K.C?
Well, you asked what again?
Then what is the purpose of the SYSBM then? If you ask me about the purpose of that, you ask me about what do I want to see, do I want to see the positivity that I want black people to be better, then what is your purpose as you being SYSBM? Does SYSBM want black people to be better too?
I would say it wants black men to be open to understanding the options that they have so far as creating a culture of their own. And not having to accept cultural norms that come from the community, as it were.
Right. I understand that.
So yeah, that would be in a nutshell.
Well, let me ask you something, brother Big J.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of people on the internet. There's millions, if not billions, of people on the internet. Millions, if not billions, of people on YouTube, right? Now, us as black folks on YouTube, we have a small corner because make no mistake, even this sector of YouTube is very small when you're talking about black YouTube. But you will have people come on here on this black YouTube and tell other people they are not black. Now, when they say that, right? When they say that, oh, you're not black, are they telling the truth? When they say that to people, is that the truth? When you tell a black man he's not black because of fill in the blank, is that telling the truth?
Racially black, they're telling a lie.
Oh God.
No, I mean,
what? Could you break that down for me? I want to know what's outside of the what's outside of the racially black. I like to get your insights on that.
Because I used to be called the white boy. I remember the first time I came on YouTube, I was called the white boy in this space.
Is there a spiritual blackness?
Because though I'm not from the inner city. I'm from the rural area. So therefore,
is there an inner blackness?
I guess so. Yes. I assume so. Yeah.
I'm just trying to see what that is because you said racially black. I'm trying to understand what are the other types of black that you were talking about.
No, we're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna put a pin in that because I want brother Big J to come back on that. He can come back on it and extrapolate, if you will. Now you say that if they're talking about racially black, then that's a lie. So when is it not a lie when they say you're not black? I want to hear that. Then you can go back to the racially and culturally, all that other kind of stuff. When is that not a lie? When they say you're not black, when is it not a lie, brother Big J?
When I'm only using their argument, so it's not my argument per se. I'm using their argument. It's more about certain talking points that are anti-black in general. If all what they say is anti-black, black people ain't shit. Black people ain't shit. Black people can't do this. Black people ain't smart. If you're making those type of statements, therefore though you're not culturally or culturally black.
Okay, so I just want to interject real quick. Does anyone want to have the conversation aside from the one y'all were having earlier about how like this truth works and reaching people emotionally and everything? Because this goes to the heart of that. Does anyone understand what I meant earlier when I talked about how when you change word usage?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now, do you understand when you change the way words work, you change people's interpretations of how words work?
Right. I get it, Zero.
This is what you're doing. Like
No,
your evasive answers to these questions, you're changing the meaning of things, the way
I'm
what
using
words
somebody-
mean.
But I'm using in the context of the conversation we just had. I'm using the argument, the standard argument of what happened to me when I was told I wasn't black enough. That I'm just using that
Right, but this conversation as a
not
whole, has been about people, not particularly you, people.
It's not
Yeah,
my
so-
position.
I guess what is being stated, Big J, is if you could answer without referring to yourself, because none of us are trying to make ourselves the standard of any of it.
No, but
That wouldn't make any sense.
Example, though, I ain't really trying. I didn't want to talk about myself. I'm just using it as an example.
I want Brother Big J to continue to talk about this being black or not being a lie. I want to know, because you said, this is what you said, Brother Big J. You said that if they're talking about it, racially, and they say, hey, you're not black, they're lying. But if they say you not, if they say you not black because you talk about black folks in a disparaging way, they're telling the truth. That's what your blackness hangs on, whether or not.
It's kind of like a Joe Biden statement from you don't vote for me, you ain't black, or statements like I'm trying to find another person that says something similar to that fact. I cannot remember, but it was something like that. I'm usually basing it upon something like that, though. X.
Well, I like to pin you down on this one,
Yeah.
Big J. I mean, could you give me your definition of what is an authentically black person?
Authentic black person is somebody who is black, who's melanated, who has an African descent, and somebody who is, let's say, who takes pride in him or herself as a person.
So you can't do that if you, I don't know, talk bad about black people. If you talk bad about black people, that means you don't take pride in yourself as a person. Or at least that's possible, right?
I mean, that's the possible, yeah.
Okay, so what happened if, by that definition, what happened if you're all of that definition, except you do not like the way in which the general population of black people are moving? Does that make you non-black all of a sudden?
According to some people.
No, I'm according to you.
So evasive.
Oh, I'm not being invasive. I'm just.
Yeah, we're just getting your definition. So according to you, the definition of the black person that you just stated.
I'm gonna say it like this: I've been black for 30-something odd years, and I am not missing a fucking day. All right, I just put it like that.
Well, the reason why I say that, right? Because we always have, these conversations, right? About who's pro-black and who's not. And my question is, who dictates that? Because I don't feel like you can put somebody like that in. You can't put these people in one freaking in one category, right? I may be, for instance, let's talk about some of the things that we've seen, big things. Like the brother, for instance, who paid all those other black folks college tuition, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously pro-black. He looked out for black folks, but he does have a white woman. So people will say, oh, well, he's not pro-black. He's married to a white girl. But I think the people whose tuition he paid would beg to differ. You have people on here who they may consider themselves pro-black, but don't do a goddamn thing for black people. Then you have people who may say things, they may criticize black folks, they may even chastise black folks. And their reasons for doing it, they will say because, they love black people. Now, you got three people who can be under the umbrella of pro-black. So even they're three different people with three different reasons or three different desires for why they consider themselves pro-black. But which one of them are really pro-black? Which one is not? Are all of them? Are none of them? Is it 1 out of 2, 2 out of 3? What? How do we decipher these things? That's why I'm talking about truth, because in a lot of cases, it's all about my truth, our truth, his truth, her truth. What is the real truth? Who out of those three people is pro-black?
Well, I'll say Robert A. Smith was more pro-black than the latter that like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. But he does have a white woman though. So does that kind of bring his pro-blackness value down? Does he lose points?
In my eyes, it doesn't.
Okay.
Because the way I see it, if you help a black man out, that black man will make black children in the future. If I give Zero some money right now, $1 million, he gets married, his black children will benefit from it.
No, they won't, because I'm gonna spend it all on hookers and cocaine.
Well, I understand. I'm just saying.
I'm messing with you. I get what you mean.
Understand. But if you giving black men, heterosexual men money, heterosexual men are going to do what? They're going to invest in their careers. They're going to buy houses, and when they buy houses, they're going to have a mate. And after having mate, children's coming out of that union.
Okay.
So therefore, though, you're helping. Therefore, you are being pro-black. If you're giving black men money or giving them or solving their.
What if you're looking out? What if you're looking out for black men? Because I know somebody. I'm going to give you an anecdote here. I know someone who all of their clients, primarily like 98% of their clients, they're a lawyer, and 98% of their clients are black men, as a matter of fact. And they told me, they said the reason why they only represent black men because they feel that black men are the most disenfranchised, ostracized people in this country. He's done a lot of pro bono cases for brothers. He's helped brothers get out of jail. He's even, when a brother's locked up, he's even put up, bail money for brothers. Now, would you consider that lawyer to be pro-black?
Yes.
That's weird because the guy I'm talking about, he's Italian. He's not a black guy. So that lawyer would be considered pro-black even though he's not black, right?
Right.
So being pro-black has nothing to do with the color of your skin then, right?
In that way, yeah, you're right. You're actually correct.
So two things.
So then blackness becomes subjective.
Well, I guess. Of course, blackness does on the internet, but I think quote unquote pro-blackness does too. All right. I don't think when it comes to being quote unquote pro-black, I think that's more based on your actions. Fuck your words. Anybody can get up here and say whatever. I think it's more based on your actions. Like I just described that lawyer, okay, that I know. He's not a black guy. He's a freaking Italian. All right. but all he represent is black men. And he's looked out for a lot of black men. And he's looked out for them for those specific reasons that black men are the most ostracized in this country. That's why he does it. And that makes him pro-black, even though he's not black. But when we talk about blackness, that's based on, especially when you have other people talking about it from the outside saying, oh, you're not black, you're not this, you're not that. That's based on their own perception of what blackness is. That's why they'll look at you and they'll be like, oh, you ain't got a black woman, you ain't black. If you don't, you ain't living in the hood, you ain't black. If you ain't doing this, that, and the other thing, you're not black. Which is crazy because now you got people trying to dictate your blackness, and it also is a lie, because I don't think who you lay down with, who you hang out with, or what you talk about dictates your blackness or not. I just don't think it does. All right. If you claiming black as a black man, all right, you're a black man who loves white folks. You're a black man who talks shit about black folks. You're a black man who disparages black folks. You can't leave the black man part out of it just because these people say things that you don't like. They say things that you may think disparage black people. I just don't think we can turn around and revoke someone's black card just because we don't like what they talk about, because they're obviously a black person. That's all I'm saying.
Well, how do you reach those people without having some type of emotional connection? Like, you have to emotionally reach those people to be like, I know. No, I'm saying it all circles back to the main topic y'all were talking about. I know I'm making I know I'm kind of poking fun at it, but you see the absurdity and how, like, when you start to mitigate, like when that guy you mentioned, the Italian who helps black people, him being pro-black in action versus skin color, perfectly valid. But again, that's one of those, you know, if you want to make the truth subjective, then you can insert anybody in the position of that lawyer doing pretty much anything that has a net positive effect on black people, and boom, pro-black. Right. So, but then there's people that's going to reject that notion, even though the outcome of that, I mean, in its most true form, is pro-black. So the only way you can do it is you got to start changing the way words work, or the way, you know, pro-black now becomes, you know, it's not about skin color anymore, even though if we're looking at it original definition wise, skin color. So, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just poking at the absurdity of how when you have to mitigate something that you're trying to get across, it loses its effectiveness by default. Because even though that man is helping out black people, I'm pretty sure, just like how Robert Smith got shit on for just having a white wife, he would probably get shit on by people who like, if you suggested that he was pro-black, you know, right. I'm talking about outside of this stream in mainstream America.
If you say he's pro-black, people would disagree with that.
So I'll answer what you're saying, Zero. I think it begins with rejecting certain language, so far as the very subjective language of black.
Right. And then how do you reach people emotionally and convey that?
Yes, it does take some creativity. I will grant you that. But at the same time, you can't come at them with it all at once. It will be like over watering a flower.
Right.
You can't do it. So it's a gradual effect.
No, I agree. So yeah. I agree with that. Now, taking a slow approach, and you've been here long enough. You've seen what happened when you don't overwater. You just mention, just bring up the notion, the idea, the concept, You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
I
yes,
do.
understand what you're
I
saying.
completely agree. Don't overwater the plant. But when it comes to us, and it's just don't even try. Well, I'm not saying don't try. I'm saying that's how the collective attitude is. Yeah, don't even try to pull that on me.
Yeah, well, some people are motivated in different ways. A lot of things cannot be accomplished via, the internet and social media and whatnot. But if I was dealing with someone in real life, as I have, and I'm sure you have as well, some people will come to notice that, hey, man, you don't move in this whole thing of, black, white, all this type of stuff. Why? That's a question that's going to come up. And then you have to kind of gradually help the person to understand that, yeah, that's meaningless.
Yeah, my
Now,
method is
if you want to get to these places in life, there's certain things that you're going to have to sacrifice and get rid of because they're incongruent with this mode or this path.
right. Now, my method is a backdoor method, and it's not entirely personal. It's actually has a societal net effect. I go back to my alma mater every year, except last year because of the COVID stuff. Go back to my alma mater every year, and I talk to young kids when they're about to graduate and when they're about to enter into CIS or computer information systems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly black kids because they, the whole diversity push. So it's a lot of minorities in the class. And I tailor my speech every year to basically reach out to the black men that enter the class, because a lot of people are going to wash out. And I basically say, I tell them what I've done in my career, how other people have done in their careers, all of the things that they can do in IT. Doesn't have to be this overly difficult thing that if they're afraid of math, they can go into different fields, like the communication aspect, the sales management aspects, or sales engineering, or even aspects of it like the management parts of it. So I go into all these different focus points on how these kids can go, particularly, again, black minorities. Now, I don't say anything racial while I'm talking at all. It's just more of a, here's what you can do, but it's more focused towards, hey, don't think you can't do this because you come from here. You know what I mean? Don't think you can't do this. Don't think you can't get into this field just because you come from the hood.
Yeah,
this is just like any other job.
Coded language.
Yes. So I do my best to convey that, and it has a net effect of getting younger generations into IT. And I see them on LinkedIn. So it is having a net positive effect society wide. So that's what I try to do, and I leave the race out of it, because the second you start racializing everything, that's when people's emotions and feelings get involved. So I do deliver the truth in a sterile way. It's not triggering because I'm giving them something that they're looking for.
Right. But let me give you an antithesis to the Italian lawyer then. Okay. Would you bring okay X? Well, do you consider Ben Carson black then?
Yes.
Yes,
I do.
Based upon what then?
No, he is like me. He is a full-blooded coon.
I mean, let's
don't disrespect my brother like that.
I see him as a black man. He was the first surgeon to successfully divide connected twins. I know that. I think he was the only black surgeon to do it. Yeah. I mean,
he's also operated on black people.
Yes, he also operates on black people. But what I'm saying is this: I see him through the lens of his accomplishments. Now, I may not necessarily agree with his politics or whatever the case may be, but I mean, that doesn't make me think he's less black. Even someone like Herman Cain, for instance. I mean, I thought Herman Cain was totally ridiculous with his politics at times, with some of the crazy things he used to say. But I never thought he wasn't black because he said things that I thought were crazy. I I mean, I'm not going to take, if I look at you and I see you as a black man, I'm going to see you as a black man no matter what, no matter who you marry or who you hang out with or who you direct your message to. I'm not going to look at you and say, oh man, you're not black. I don't think I have the power to take your black card from you. That's something you have to take away from yourself. So, I mean, I just don't think I hold that power to say, oh, you're not black because you got a white wife and you got mixed breed kids or whatever the case may be. No.
Okay, fair. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But I can't use Herman Cain because Herman Cain was never elected to anything, and then Herman Cain is dead, so it's gonna be unfair for me. He just recently passed away, so I'm not going to I'm not going to do him dirty. But
he's dead. He doesn't care. He's dead. He doesn't care that you're talking.
Well,
about.
I actually respect. You know, I'm you know, I kind of respect.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. You done stepped in it now, Big J. You done stepped in it, brother. You trying to tell me that this is what I hate about black ass folks. This is what we do, right? We want to sit up here and talk about respect the dead, but we don't have no damn respect for the people who walking around living and can hear what you say. But we're gonna respect the people who are 6 feet under the ground who can't hear what you say. I don't get that, man.
I didn't mean it like that. But the thing is, but if we gonna talk about the politics of being Carson, it's unfair to use Herman Cain because Herman Cain was not elected or appointed to any position in a major way. But in being Carson's point, I mean, he did kick some people out of Section 8 housing in when he was Secretary of HUD, and then have that lavish office while he kicking poor people out of housing. So therefore,
does that make him less black because he did that? Does that make him less black because he did that? Because he kicked, I guess, people out of public housing or whatever he did. Does that make him less black? And likewise, would he be more black if he gave black folks more houses or whatever the hell he gives them?
Well,
it wouldn't matter either way.
The way I put it, let me say it like this. I don't want to sound like one of them the so-called pro blacks, but I have to say yes, that make him less black because black people.
Okay, but Big J, all of that is subjective.
Right.
Now we're so far into the weeds that it doesn't even make any sense to discuss anymore because, like I was telling you at the outset, that's why I don't really think that the word black has any true meaning whatsoever, even to black folk. It doesn't have a definition.
Yeah, there is no one type of black person. There's no one thing that makes you black. Not even your damn skin color. I mean, there's no one thing that you can say, well, this makes you black. I don't believe that can be said, man, when it comes to blackness, because blackness is just like anything else, man. It's not a monolith. You know, I know that's really cliche at this point, but it's not a monolithic thing because not all black people live the same. Not all black people do the same stuff.
Yeah, and since we're in the weeds, there isn't even one type of nigga.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Nope.
You seen an Asian nigga before?
I've seen plenty of them. I've seen Latinos. I've seen Asian. Shoot, especially in New York City, you run into a lot of Asian niggas. You'll run into a lot of them.
I think all of it has to do with it's just basically saying that there are various types of people.
Yep.
And that's what it comes down to. And people want to throw the whole racial thing in it, but people are people and people are different. They have different motivations, different dreams, aspirations, desires, the whole nine. So, and I think black people have this desire for wanting their phenotypic group to move in a certain way all the time, and that's never going to happen. It will never happen.
Nope. Absolutely
That's
not.
a pipe dream.
But you're already coming in. You're already coming in on falsehood when you tell a black man he ain't black. You've killed any credibility you have right then and there, because once you say that to a black man who claims black himself, once you say, "Oh, you ain't black," you're already lying off top, because you're basing it on like you said, some subjective nonsense, some subjective freaking pathology, that you have swirling around in your own damn head when you say that, because you don't know what this man's level of blackness is. You're basing it off of what you think. You don't know what blackness is to this man.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's why I just reject the whole term, because it doesn't even, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But
well, that's what I think it all comes down to, what we're talking about tonight. We as black folks, we have a tendency, like Brother Zero said, we take words and flip them around and use them a different way and make them mean something different than they really mean. We do that stuff, right? And then we want to say, "Oh, well, this is true, but this ain't." Why? Because this I believe and this other thing I don't. I think we believe anything is true that we believe. If we don't believe it, somehow it's not true, because we don't believe it, which is crazy.
Well, before I get out of here, I did want to post something to Zero, because I don't get a lot of opportunities to chat with him. Man, a lot of times I try to catch your live streams. I'm busy. I'm working and doing something, and I just can't get on. But concerning how people disseminate truth within this space, do you believe that the individuals that call themselves logical and state that they are just giving the truth straight and direct as it is, that they have the capability of accepting the truth given to them that exact same way?
If someone is truly logical, yes, because one of the primary components in logic is being able to see things from both sides, like an equation. It's what having logic is all about. Something equals another, or if something is imbalanced, like something is greater than another, you still have two sides of a given equation. So you have to be able to understand something from both sides. Which is why even if something is subjective, you're still able to disseminate it logically. For instance, perfect example, what you're describing is censorship. Like, you'll hear people say, "You don't need to be saying that," or "These people don't need to talk," and all this other shit. But it's like, okay, understand that censorship works both ways, and censorship is a mechanism. It doesn't care about how you feel about it. So the second you start doing that, and then someone feels the same way about you, then
your argument is gone.
Yeah, your argument's gone. So you don't even have an argument. You've basically nullified the very thing that you're arguing for or against. So yeah. If you are actually logical, then you should be able to see things from both sides. Not should, you are able to see things from both sides. And if you can't, then no, you're not logical.
And that's what I'm saying is you gave I would say a good example in that, because we hear that word thrown out a lot within these spaces. It's a catchphrase now, logic, logical reason, so forth. But some of the ways in which people move, it betrays that. It betrays the very word.
Right. So, all right. So logic, like when people say like I'm logical, I think this is my opinion. I'm just pulling this out of my ass here. When people say I'm logical, a lot of the times they're saying, well, I know about this thing that I think is true. Maybe they've researched this, maybe they haven't. Maybe they don't have the full picture. Maybe they do. But
Mhm.
whatever it is, they've chosen a position, and that's the only position they care about. For instance, even if I position myself, like, for instance, as much shit as I used to talk about feminism last year, I understand why.
Correct.
I understand why it happened. I understand that the power they have is the power they have. I'm not the person that goes. I'm not the person waving my. I'm not doing air punches and saying chicks are evil. I'm saying it is the power that they have is what they have. You know what I'm saying? It's not a one-sided thing. I'm not seeing it from the perspective of, it's just, I see both sides and I understand how it works and I understand what needs to be done and stuff like that. So again, but a lot of people, when they say logic, it means that I've taken a position on this thing that I know about. I don't care about the other side of the equation. I don't care.
But that's not logical.
No, I understand that. I get it. It's not logical, but what I'm saying is, and again, this is my opinion. When people say that they're logical, it means that they've taken a position on something that they know about. They may be well read on it. They may know exactly what the facts are, what everything is, and their position is rooted and they're on that position. They don't care about the other side of the equation. They don't care about how it works overall. This is why economics is so hard for Black people.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
And that's what it is. That their logic is rooted in one position that they know about, and then the other position does not matter.
Right, but do you do get that at that point, by taking that position, they have redefined what logic is.
Yes, no. I understand that. I do, but yeah, you're right. I'm not going to argue against that. Yeah.
So using the term is illogical. It is unfitting.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you talk about people who say, always talking this logic stuff, it's basically when I hear someone say that, what they're saying is, like Brother Zero says, they've taken this position, something that they obviously know a lot about. And to them, that position makes the most sense. It goes back to, this is my truth about this particular instance, situation, equation. That's their truth. Their logic is, quote unquote, their truth, isn't it? Because whatever they're trying to get at, or whatever they're trying to get to the bottom of, obviously there's other ways to that, right? There's other ways to that destination, but they are stuck in that one, right? They're stuck on that position because they believe that position makes the most sense, right? Is that what y'all are saying, right?
Yeah, and there's also incentive. Incentive is the most powerful. This is why I always say economics should be taught in high school at the very least. So a lot of times your position is always rooted in incentive. So a lot of people that take a position on anything is going to be rooted in some type of incentive. It's the same way where you have the woman first people. Their position is rooted in the fact that they don't want to lose access to chicks, so they don't say anything bad. The same thing with anybody else. Like when they have when they say they have a message on something, but when an economic incentive is presented, they go for the economic incentive, and anything outside of that is secondary. So whatever message they have is kind of nullified by the fact that they have an economic incentive to say whatever they need to get some money. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Once you present an incentive, that becomes the priority of whatever people are speaking to. So if someone takes a position on something that seems that's not logical or seems not logical, is because there's an incentive typically for them to have that position, and they're going to always protect it, because if they don't protect it, they lose the incentive.
Right. And and I think going back to your illustration of the equation, that makes one side of the equation unbalanced. The more logical an individual is, it seems as though the more balanced they would be in their outlooks on things.
Right. You don't have a choice. If you're going to be logical, you're actually not given the choice to to have an imbalance.
Correct. So that's why it's very weird to me to hear so many individuals using the phrase of logic, reason, and then coming off as so dogmatic about so many different positions.
Grain of
That in
salt.
itself, it's ridiculous.
Yep,
Yeah,
grain of salt. You got
Yeah, but because pure logic doesn't pander to either side, right? If it's pure logic, that means it's down the middle, right? For the most part.
right.
It doesn't pander to either side, whether it be the
No,
side that gives
it
the money or
actually
not.
does. It actually does. It depends on your incentive. If something is pure logical and you're given an incentive, let's just say that pure logic actually grants you an incentive. Of course, you'll agree with it because you have an incentive to. If that logic does not give you an incentive, you're not, you may or may not agree with it depending on your sensibilities. That's when things become more subjective, because you may have a sensibility that goes, okay, well, this doesn't give me an incentive. However, I can see the point of it. Outside of that, you just present it with the logic, and if there's no incentive, you're just gonna be like, nope, fuck that. What do I get?
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's to me, it's an odd phenomenon. I think I really wish there would be more conversation about what logic truly is, what reasoning through matters really is.
Well, a conversation about logic will end up in an argument. It'll end up in an argument.
I have to quote Uncle Dave. You guys, it's going to take some intellectual heavy lifting to do that. When it comes to Negro.
Yeah, and I don't think, and me, this is me being biased. I mean, I just don't think I just don't think that's a possibility via the internet. I know the internet is this big old thing, and you can network and all sort of kind of foolishness. But I just don't think, and that's what I think a lot of people have in their heads, that they're somehow going to unite all of Black America via the internet. Newsflash, folks, it's not going to happen.
You do know that the internet is the public square, right? Yeah. Like wherever the people are having the discussions is the public square. The internet is no different than being outside. It's no real difference. If people the only difference between the internet and outside is the fact that you can, when arguments get too out of control, people end up, resorting to some type of physicality. So, I mean, if you really think about it, if you're going to have a discussion, this will probably be the best outlet to do it, because once people get triggered on some shit out in public, it doesn't work out. I mean, if anyone's ever watched the British Parliament go at each other's head on TV,
I love that. I love every Thursday morning, watch that shit.
Right. So if you've ever watched these people kind of go at it, when those discussions get too heated, they have to just recess. Yeah. And it's the same thing that happens in our government, where we get to the point where a discussion can't be had. We're a bit more polite because the British government has been around longer than us, so they're less affected by harsh language. So they'll actually argue, sweat, and get mad and throw shit at each other. Versus us, we'll break when things get even a little bit politically incorrect. So this is if you're gonna make any type of change, you're going to have to do it here, because this is the public square. In fact, the former administration and the NSA declared the internet the public square. And as you all know, U.S. Constitution and also World Constitution has rights, human rights in the public square. So again, the internet is going to be even more of the public square going forward. So if you're going to make any type of change, it has to be here. I mean, Obama became president because of the internet. If anyone remembers that.
But the bulk of this crap, Brother Zero, is entertainment.
No, so, that's okay. You're right, but the entertainment is because of the people who actually have a message, right? as soon as a financial incentive is presented, what do? I mean, you've been here long enough to see it happen.
Yeah, they tailor the message. I get it.
They go towards the financial incentive. So then whatever message they have goes away. So yeah, I agree that the entertainment aspect with the people who do have a serious message, they also have to kind of capitulate because you got a lot of entertainers out here. You got a lot of entertainers out here just saying anything they want to.
Yeah.
And it's more attractive to go towards that.
I just think that many of us have, we've kind of augmented and bastardized the quote unquote truth. And it's to the point now where the truth is whatever the hell we want it to be, depending on who's talking and who's listening and what you're talking about. And I think that that's the problem. And I think the truth does care who tells it. I think it does.
Oh, it does matter who tells it, because I've repeated Manosphere history about 50,000 times, and then like 10, I'll say it, and then like 10 people will come forward and then rewrite it, and then I'll repeat the history again and again. You can go research it, and then 10 more people will come forward and then rewrite it because they have an incentive to rewrite it. They have an incentive to change it.
That's their truth.
Exactly.
They can't rewrite something that's on YouTube. Anybody can go up there and look up the old videos made in 2007, 2008 of the original Manosphere. I mean,
everybody got time for that.
Yeah, some of us who've been here the longest, who actually remember it like I have. I mean, they can't just sit there and just.
I was messing with you again. I'm pointing out the fact that like people be like, I ain't got time to do all that shit.
People don't care. You're right. That's the truth. People don't care about anything that doesn't happen. If it happened more than 30 days ago, people don't give a damn about
30
it. 30
seconds ago. Memories like Dory.
To answer the title question, X, I think it's yes and no. And I think it has to be. The reason behind that is to those who are more emotionally tied. I think it's a yes. To those who are truly logical, it's no. Because I really think that a truly logical person could gather truth from their worst enemy.
Got you.
Yep.
But I don't think that those people are I think they're rare. I think there's a lot of people that want to be that. They like to be under that moniker, but their actions have shown quite different.
I agree. But we about to wrap this up. So everybody, your parting shots before we peel up out of here. Whoever wants to go can go.
I have no parting shots.
No parting shots? Damn, Brother Zero. I was looking forward to your parting shots. Brother Big J, any parting shots, brother?
I have no parting shots myself.
Okay. It's good to see you come through, Big J. It's good to see you come through, brother. And hold up before you go, Brother Supreme. Brother Roscoe with the $2 super chat. He says, for Mr. J, is Joe Biden black? And when you drop coin on this platform, you get this. I appreciate you dropping your hard-earned coins on this platform. Appreciate that, Brother Roscoe. Go ahead, Brother Supreme.
No, I was just going to say my parting shot is sweet white man cake stats.
What?
What? Man, extra icing, man. I love it. I can't get enough of it.
Hey, can somebody find out if Gabe's still confused?
we can't even talk to Gabe. Damn, Brother Big J ran him off. God damn it. You ran old Gabe out of here.
Peace out, fellas. Thanks, X. Thanks,
Peace, Brother
Big J
Supreme.
Triple X, and thanks Zero for the combo. I
Hit,
appreciate
hit
it.
me up, brother. Hit me up.
All right.
Oh, actually, you can't because my phone is fucked up. Hit me up in about a day or two.
Ditto. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Peace, Brother Zero.
Peace, man. I'm out.
Peace, Brother Big J. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and close it out. Shit, it's been 3 hours and some change. No, I hope y'all got, something out of this conversation because, most of the time, the truth is subjective, y'all. The truth is whatever we say it is most of the time. And I think that that's the problem because I said this earlier, I'll say it again. The truth is whatever we believe. If we believe it, then it's the truth. Even if the person saying it is telling an untruth. If we believe it, it becomes the truth. If we don't believe it, then we don't see it as the truth. I think that's where we are at this point, at this stage of the game, especially when you're talking about the internet. But before we get out of here, y'all know I got to hit y'all with T.P.O.T's programming notes. Yeah, a few programming notes. Let me turn this back. I don't know what's going on with my camera, man. Should have been popping off and on. Few programming notes, good folks. Because tomorrow we got the one and only TVA will be in the house, and he's coming through for a challenge. That's right. He is calling out conservatives. Yeah, he's calling out conservatives. He wants to do battle. He hit me up, like I said, and he wants to take on anybody who wants to take him on. So we're gonna be throwing down tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. You Negroes know. In fact, here's a preview.
This is a PSA to all of you fucking coons. But it's simple. Brother Xavier, I really respect you and your platform. And I want this so bad. Bring the best coons you got. I'll even sponsor it. Send me an email, brother. You know my email. We'll agree on an amount. And I'll even sponsor the debate. And I want it to be handicapped. I want it to be 2-on-1. Bring the best coons you got. I don't give a fuck if Candace Owens shows up. I don't give a shit. I'm tired of you niggas. You niggas. I'm gonna fucking destroy you so thoroughly. You niggas. But hopefully, this shit will go viral. Fucking coons. I'll be waiting.
Oh, be here 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. You Negroes know the TVA challenge. It's going down. Then we're going to end the week with Brother Jonathan on Friday night from Real Deal Financial, finessing the finances. Brother Jonathan will be here. And he'll be dropping some financial jewels on y'all, man. So if you want to learn a little bit about investments, stocks, savings, things of that nature, real estate, you need to be here Friday. Because every now and then we actually do a show that's serious where you might possibly learn something. That's right, Brother Jonathan will be here Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the T.P.O.T YouTube page, you know. Good stuff tonight, folks. I mean, pretty good conversation. You know, when it comes down to it, man, the truth is the truth is the truth, man. I don't believe in that, you know, my truth, our truth, my mom's truth. I just don't believe in that, man. All right. It was raining outside today, man. It rained us out. We had to stop working at like 3 o'clock because that shit rained us right out. I don't care who you are. If you saying it's raining outside and I can see it's raining outside, you telling the truth. I'm not going to doubt whether or not you tell the truth because you're white or you're black or shit. You can even be somebody that I don't like. I mean, if you're telling the truth, you're telling the truth. And that itself is not subjective. I spoke earlier about what if I was walking down the block and some white redneck said, "Don't go down there, nigger. There's a bunch of wild dogs down there. You might get killed." If I can see down there and see those wild dogs down there killing somebody, I probably won't even be thinking about him just calling me a nigger just now, because that redneck just told the truth. He just told the truth. So, I mean, I'm not the type who's going to be like, well, because I don't like this person, even though they told the truth, I'm going to choose to not believe it. And likewise, I'm not going to choose to believe a lie just because someone who I happen to know and I associate myself with is telling the lie. I'm not going to choose to believe the lie just because I'm familiar with the person who's telling it. To me, that's just stupid. And I think we do a lot of that in Black society. And I think I think it screws us up, man. I think it screws us up, you know, because I don't believe the truth is subjective. I really don't. I don't believe the truth is subjective, man. I don't. It's not. Like I said, man, the sky's blue, the grass is green. Right? Now people are coming and be like, well, in the fall, you know, the grass is brown, X, and when it rains, the sky is gray. That too is truth. But I think sometimes what we get hung up on is that gap between truth, nuance, and lies. I think that's where it gets fuzzy. But y'all decide, you know, leave me some comments. If you're watching this on the playback, leave me some comments down there in the comment section. You know, leave me some comments down there. You know, don't leave nothing stupid though, because if you leave something stupid, it won't get read by other people. It'll just get read by me, and then I'll fucking delete it. Then go to your if you happen to be a person who you know, comes to this channel, guess what? Your shit gonna get blocked. You'll never be able to comment in this motherfucker again. See how that works? So I'm just saying. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, man. Good shit tonight. I appreciate all the super chats and cash apps. One more shout out to the folks who donated to the platform tonight, of course. A big coin drop on this platform. Yeah, shout out to people who contributed, you know, their hard-earned coins. But most importantly, man, more important than that, man, is you contributed with your participation, man, being here, spending some time with us, watching us. That's more important than any amount of money or donations or whatever. Just the fact that you're here, man, taking part in it, participating in it means a lot. Because like I always say, man, I don't take you good folks lightly, man. I never have, and I never will. You got my word on that, man. And I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. You good folks who hang out there, and the good folks who hang out up in here. All right. All right. Special shout out to all the brothers who came through tonight. Brother Gabe A, Brother Zero, Brother Big J, and of course, the guest of honor, Brother S.K.C. Get on down there, man, and check Brother S.K.C. out, man. He does a lot of good stuff down there If you're racially sensitive or culturally sensitive or politically sensitive, you probably don't want to watch brother S.K.C shit. Because he attacks all of that. All right. Culture, race, politics. He goes after all of that. So if you're sensitive in any of those areas, you might just want to stay away. I'm just saying. But with that, I will leave you good folk with 3 words, you know, like I always do. Open your mind.
Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. The protest.
Dark Exodus.
Open your mind.
You know.
Yeah, X.
You know.
Dark Exodus. You understand?
Yeah, X.
You
understand? Open your mind.
Dark X. Yeah, X.
You know.
You understand?
Yeah, X.
Open your mind.
Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus. Dark Exodus.
Only from T.P.O.T. Media. Open your mind.